And here we go. We're ready. We are live and we are going to it. And here we go. We are the Magical Turnabout trial. So we did the investigation last time, which was a really, really long investigation segment. And we are ready to go into the first trial, and we're going to meet the new prosecutor in this game. We got a little preview of in the cutscene previously. April 28th, 9:15 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. I'm fine. I'm Apollo Justice. And I'm fine. Is Apollo okay? He's been muttering to himself all morning. He's been like that since yesterday. I guess the pressure of today's trial is getting to him. Poor Paulie. He's really tearing himself up over all of this. Get it together, Apollo. Yikes! Athena, when did you get here? Try to relax a little bit, will you? You're getting yourself way too worked up. Yeah, but I'm all right. I'm fine. You know, I did a little digging on this Nayuri Sadmati guy. He's apparently not your run-of-the-mill prosecutor. Oh yeah? What did you find out? Well, they say he wields an incredible power to accurately read a trial's karma and its ultimate fate. What is that supposed to mean? I don't have all the details, but apparently he can foresee how the arguments will go and even lead his opposition. So the defense basically ends up going in whatever direction he has in his head. Man, this isn't going to be a cakewalk, if that's true. Emma did say she'd talk to him for us, though. Here's hoping that went well. In any case, it sounds like he's going to keep us on our toes. That's why I know you're ready. Why I know I can leave Trucy in the office to you. I believe in you, Apollo. Mr. Wright is putting his faith in me. I can't let him down now. I'm fine. There he goes again. Almost like he's chanting a prayer. I'm fine. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm fine! If you say so, Apollo. The trial will start momentarily. Is the defense ready? Yes! We're fine! Trucy's fate and the fate of the agency rest on this trial. This is it, Justice. If ever there was a time to shine, it's now. April 28th, 9:30 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 6. Day 1. The court is now in session. All rise. We're back in the familiar courtroom here, and there's our familiar judge. The court is now in session for the trial of Trucy Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh, here he is. And the prosecution? Prosecutor Sadmati? 1,000 pardons. It was rude of me to keep you waiting. I was praying for the victim. Oh, praying? Yes, I see. You're a Quraanist monk, correct, prosecutor? Yes, that is correct. I am but a lowly monk from the kingdom of Qurain. I beg in advance for the forgiveness and kind patience of everyone here in this court. I am unfamiliar with the proceedings of this country and may make many blunders. He seems like such a gentle-mannered soul, doesn't he? I wonder if Emma had a chance to talk with him about Trucy. Now then, Prosecutor Sadmati, your opening statement, if you would. Certainly. In the name of the Holy Mother, I vow to guide the victim's soul to a land of eternal peace, known as the Twilight Realm. Now, let the last rites of the victim begin. Nayuta Sadmati. He's really been making a name for himself, apparently, but that nickname, Last Rites Prosecutor, I wonder how that'll come into play today. The incident took place in the middle of a spectacular magic show. The accused performed a magic trick in which he thrust a sword into a coffin. A coffin from which the body of the victim then spilled out, dead, from a fatal stabbing. The victim's name was Manov Mystery. Oh, I get it. I get the pun. Man of Mystery, otherwise known as the Great Mysterious. His blood was found on the sword that was used during the magic trick. Autopsy report added to the court record. Okay, the victim's real name was Manov Mystery. His blood is on the murder weapon. And we've got the stuff that we have from before. Right. Okay. So his death was just an unfortunate accident? It is only natural for one to assume as such, Your Honor. However, it was no mere accident, but rather a homicide. The prosecution's position is thus, that this was a murder made to look like an accident. I see, and you believe this crime was committed by the defendant? After a thorough consideration of all possible scenarios, I unfortunately had no other choice but to conclude as much. So that's how it's gonna be, huh? I guess Emma couldn't convince him after all. Very well. And now, let us hear from the defense. Naturally, we maintain that the defendant is innocent, Your Honor. If the defense wouldn't mind, could you please explain your reasoning? My reasoning? Well, I would have to say that my main reason is because I believe in the defendant. I see. So you find it difficult to come up with anything more concrete than that, do you? What a fine demonstration of the fact that you are indeed a lawyer of putrid mind. Putrid mind? Prosecutor Sadmati? Excuse me, but I don't... What? If you don't mind my asking, Prosecutor, what was that you were just chanting? He's gonna jutsu us. Run away. A sutra of the Holy Mother that guides those of tainted soul toward enlightenment. It is a Karinist incantation to awaken the foolish from their fruitless slumber. Fitting for a lawyer who indulges in such fancy as the innocence of the accused. I see. So basically, you're asking the defense to get real? Allow me these few words, defense. It is my duty as a monk to punish sinners and to guide victims' souls to the Twilight Realm. Should you show repentance and admit to the accused's guilt now, no harm will come to you. But should you interfere with my sacred last rites for the victim, then I shall cast you down into the pit of hell, along with Trucy Wright. No, wait just 1 minute here. Putrid, pit of hell? Is that any way to address someone in a court of law? Prosecutor Sadmati, that may be the way you conduct trials in Kurine, but I would appreciate it if you would refrain from such charged language here. Your Honor, that was but a Kurinist sermon for those who have strayed from the path. Harsh words are often necessary to admonish contemptible deviants who cannot see reason. Oh, I see. I didn't realize. I guess they really do hate defense attorneys in Karine, huh? Even still, that was way, way over the top as far as verbal abuse goes. And the trial's only just begun. Well, defense, I suppose the way a prosecutor does things varies by country. Why don't we look at this as a cross-cultural exchange and try to be open-minded about it? What? Bailiff, please bring in the first witness. It's Emma on the stand, and she's eating her snackoos again. Uh-oh. I thought she'd said goodbye to the snackoos. It's the chocolate ones, too. Detective Sky, this courtroom is no place for gorging yourself. What's wrong with having a little snack? Girl's gotta eat, right? She, seems a little stressed out. Detective Sky, your testimony, please. Yeah, about that. I just want to state for the record that I believe Trucy Wright is innocent. I'm sorry? Detective Sky, this path you seek to follow is misguided. Giving the wrongdoer false hope will only deepen her despair in the end. But let it go and move on. Acts which go against your duty will earn you divine punishment from the Holy Mother. Ugh! Oh, she's back at it. That's a depressing chew. Fine. I don't know about the divine part, but I get the punishment bit loud and clear. I guess the Divine Mother is also in charge of slashing of salaries. I guess Emma got assigned tons of paperwork or something for sticking up for Trucy. She and Prosecutor Sadmati don't seem to get along very well, do they? Has Emma gotten along with any of the prosecutors in this series? Well, okay, her sister was one, but, you know, that's ancient history. And I guess she got on okay with Edgeworth, but she definitely didn't like Clavier. Shall we continue? The prosecution contends that the accused had a clear motive. The evidence, if you would, Detective Sky. All right, please take a look at this poster. Cancelled! He was cancelled! Oh no! Twitter went after him. It's a Troop Grammari poster from 13 years ago. Huh? Is it just me, or is it a little different from the one in Miss Wright's dressing room? This is a revised version of that poster. This one says cancelled under Mr. Rios. That's right. Mr. Rios left the troupe after the first version of the poster was printed. Take a look at Mr. Rios' right forearm near his elbow. See the big scar there? He apparently got that when he made a mistake while practicing a magic trick. Ouch, that's quite a scar. Because of the accident, Magnifi Grammari concluded Mr. Rios was too unskilled. Just before the show was to open, Magnifi announced Mr. Rios wouldn't be appearing. But in defiance of Magnifi's decision, Mr. Rios tried to go on stage anyway. That is both a jerk move and also very much in character for Magnifi, because he seemed like kind of an awful guy. This in turn caused Magnifi to oust Mr. Rios from the troupe on the spot. He kicked Mr. Rios out? Well, that seems rather extreme. Did he really have to go that far? I mean, you saw how nuts he was 2 years ago. When it came to magic, Troop Grammari was so passionate, or should I say, extreme about it, that it caused problems for them from time to time. Yes, they even caused this court a mountain of trouble with their extreme antics. Okay, there we go. And now, the troupe's successor has committed a murder. It seems the troupe's rare talent was inherited by the right person, after all. A putrid talent for criminality. Man. That was a mic drop. You sound rather extreme yourself, prosecutor. Criminals with impure souls do not deserve sympathy, Your Honor. As I was saying, after his expulsion, Mr. Rios apparently went on to hold a grudge against the troop. He would tell those close to him, I will get my revenge on Troop Grammari someday. Revenge, huh? Well, that certainly sounds antagonistic. 13-year-old poster. Okay. Mr. Rios was apparently ousted from Troop Grammari 13 years ago due to an injury he sustained. Okay. And then his chance for revenge finally came. If you would be so kind, Detective Sky. I guess I don't have a choice, do I? Witness testimony. The defendant's motive. The victim planned to get his revenge on Troop Grammari during Trucy's magic show. Mr. Rios was going to first steal the Grammari notebook from the defendant. He then intended to reveal the secrets behind their magic tricks during the show. That was the victim's plan for revenge, and while he did, in fact, steal the notebook, the defendant murdered him before he had a chance to reveal the secrets. Oh ho ho, having to toe the party line. By the time the accused had discovered the notebook's theft, it was too late. Her only option was to kill Mr. Rios and make it look like an accident. That's nothing but conjecture. The victim's assistant, Bonnie DeFemme, gave the police a statement. She testified that just before the start of the show, Mr. Rios said, I'm going to reveal all of Troop Grammari's secrets on stage today. What? Well, that isn't exactly a great starting point for a rebuttal, is it? You're telling me? Allow me to give you one piece of advice, defense. Oh, and what's that? Let it go and move on. Excuse me? Helping a sinner will only sully your own soul. Is that a spirit butterfly he has there? Is that the, what is it? It's not the Magatama. It's the Mitama. Yeah, the butterfly. One possessed of an unclean soul will burn in the flames of hell, and then be overburdened with that sin in their next life. But I don't believe in that sort of thing. Besides, I have no intention of giving up. Oh, Holy Mother, grant me the strength to deal with this putrid lawyer. All actions have consequences, and yours will surely earn you the honor of being a mere stink bug at best in your next life. A stink bug? Now then, Mr. Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. That attitude is what stinks. But we'll get the cross-examination. Oh, that's interesting. The cross-examination thing was the one from Dual Destinies. So it's not constantly the new one, because it's not in Kurine, the courts. I wonder how much of this game is going to take place in Kurine versus here. Let's see. I like the penalties are now badges. It feels like they changed those every game for whatever reason. The victim planned to get his revenge. All right, let's press. Revenge after all this time? It's been 13 years already. Why now? I know, right? I thought that was pretty sketchy myself. I mean, wouldn't he have done it a long time ago if he was going to do it? After all... Detective Sky, self-indulgent outbursts such as these will earn you divine punishment in the form of a salary evaluation. I was joking about that, but it's real. Divine salary evaluations. Yep. Oh, she's back to stress eating. Wait, that's what divine punishment means? Let the detective have her snack. This humble servant of the Holy Mother shall explain. Over a decade ago, Troop Grammari was at the height of their popularity, but then their reputation declined, and they had all but faded from public memory. Until recently, that is, when Trilogy Wright sought to recapture their former glory. The defendant? And at such a young age, too! How impressive! Yes, the accused's skill at magic is undeniably impressive. If she hadn't fallen onto the path of sin, she would have had a bright future ahead of her. It's always sad to see such promising young potential go to waste. Now then, Detective Sky, how did Mr. Rios plan to get his revenge? And please put down the snackoos before you continue with your testimony. She's not going to. Yes, Your Honor. Give yourself diabetes! See, Mr. Rios was going to first steal the Grammari notebook. What evidence do you have that Mr. Rios actually stole the notebook? Well, maybe the fact that you found it in his stuff, but whatever. Well, you see, Back to eating! Whenever you're ready, Detective. Fret not, Detective Sky. You have nothing to repent for. You should be proud of the fine forensic discovery that you made. Forensic discovery? And what did she discover specifically? Detective Sky identified a certain set of fingerprints on the notebook. Upon further inspection, she determined that they belonged to Mr. Rios. What? The detective found the fingerprints entirely of her own volition. For that, I must say, well done, Detective Sky. Back to eating. Get a little too addicted to using your precious white powder, did you, Emma? Wait, what? I get what that's referencing, like the fingerprint powder, but that's just weird out of context. Now, Detective Sky, I would ask you to explain exactly how Mr. Rios intended to use the notebook to exact his revenge. Alright, well, first, he stole the notebook. He then intended to reveal the secrets behind their magic tricks during the show, right? I'm going to reveal all of Troop Grammari's secrets on stage today. That's what Mr. Rios himself said, right? Right, but he didn't exactly specify which Grammari secrets he was talking about. But the prosecution thinks he was referring to the secrets behind Troop Grammari's magic? Yes, that is the prosecution's assertion. When the accused realized that Mr. Rios was to reveal her family's most closely guarded secrets, she naturally panicked. So basically, Trilogy's notebook was hiding in Mr. Rios' things because he'd stolen it himself? I see! Truly, a motive that only a magician could have. Yes, that's what the prosecution believes, anyway. That was the victim's plan for revenge. Well, he did, in fact, steal the notebook. Well, first, let's talk about that. Do you really believe what you're saying, Detective Sky? Do you really think Miss Wright killed Mr. Rios to stop him from getting his revenge? Of course I don't think that. The Trilogy we know would... Keep your private considerations separate from your public duty. I warned you about this very thing before the trial began, did I not, Detective Sky? Yes, you did. Please recite my exact words to you. Emma Sky, you are a detective first and foremost, not the accused's friend. Remember your duty and fulfill it faithfully. Excellent. So you do remember what I said to you. Your devotion to your work will be rewarded, for the Holy Mother sees all. This Holy Mother is no scientific concept I've ever heard of. These two really don't get along, do they? Well, science and religion go together about as well as oil and water. As I was saying, likely the defendant murdered him before he had a chance to reveal the secrets. Okay? I'm sorry, but what exactly is the basis for claiming it was murder? Beats me. What? The basis is beats me? You'll have to ask Prosecutor Sadmati over there, because he hasn't told me his reasoning either. Detective Sky, your feeding of information to the defense has not gone unnoticed by my eyes. The bad karma of acts which go against your duty will impinge you in your next life. But even before that, it may impinge upon your job in the form of a transfer. But please don't get me kicked out of the forensics unit. Anything but that. Poor Emma. She's really been risking everything for us. Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, what are your grounds for claiming homicide? It was the luminous tape in the understage passage. I realized that it had been moved. Moved so that Mr. Rios would climb up into the downstage coffin by mistake. What? Mr. Rios, who was waiting in the understage passage, was supposed to have used the upstage ladder shown here on the left. He was to climb up into the coffin that had been set up in the backstage area after being turned into a stuffed dragon during Act 1. Mr. Rios was supposed to come back to life and emerge from that coffin. But the luminous tape had been moved to mark the downstage ladder. So the victim climbed up into the coffin on the stage itself by mistake. The very same coffin the accused thrust her sword into. And you have proof that it was my client who moved the tape? But of course, Detective Sky. Huh? Oh, that's right. I identified the defendant's fingerprints on the luminous tape. You what? He actually had proof? Well, defense, are you finally ready to let it go and move on? Absolutely not. Detective, please add the information about the prints on the tape to your testimony. The defendant's prints were on the tape. I guess she must have moved it during the show. Well, hang on, how could she have? Because she didn't have any points where she was... Mr. Rios transforms into a dragon, Trucy's hat trick, Bonnie's teleportation trick, and Trucy's escape trick. Mr. Rios' fire trick. This will be dangerous. Make sure the fire bucket is ready. The defendant's prints were on the tape. I guess she must have moved it during the show. Whoa. Prints on the coffin lid has Bonnie, Mr. Rios, and an unknown person's fingerprints. Trucy wore gloves, so none of her fingerprints were found. Oh yeah. Hang on a second. Trucy wore gloves, so none of her fingerprints were found. That's it. Right? Objection! Yeah, we got it. I'm sorry, Detective Sky, but there's a flaw in your testimony. Oh, really? The prosecution is claiming that Miss Wright moved the understage tape during the show in order to guide the victim into the coffin downstage. But it doesn't make sense that she would leave prints on the tape at that time. It doesn't? Please consider the fingerprinting results of the main coffin, which shows that not one of my client's fingerprints was found on or in it. That's true. We didn't find any of her prints on that coffin. Huh? I think you've realized what the flaw in your testimony is. Claiming Miss Wright left prints on the tape during the show is inconsistent with the facts. Because she was wearing gloves during this show. Oh! She must have left the prints sometime before the show started. In other words, her prints do not prove she moved the tape to mislead the victim. The prosecution's investigation was insufficient. Oh my. But on a personal level, I'm very happy about that.
Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, if the defense's argument is true, then you have no evidence the defendant moved the tape to deceive the victim.
I see. Apparently, the defense is more intelligent than I had thought. More than a stink bug, at any rate.
Come on, you can bump me up at least a stag beetle now, can't you?
Would that really be any better?
Of course, way better. Stag beetles are cool with those huge mandibles of theirs.
Hello? If the defense wishes to be promoted to a stag beetle, then answer me this question.
All right, shoot.
Even with no evidence that the accused moved the tape to misguide the victim still climbed the ladder, using the tape as a guide, and entered the coffin on the stage. The accused then thrust her sword into said coffin with the victim in it.
So what you're saying is the fact remains that the victim was stabbed to death, right?
Precisely. However, this does drastically change one aspect of the case. If the accused did not lead the victim into the coffin on purpose, then it means the victim's death could have been accidental. If it was indeed an accident, the defense can argue that it was involuntary manslaughter.
I see. If it was involuntary manslaughter, they could plead extenuating circumstances, and the severity of the crime could be mitigated.
Is he, like, throwing out that possibility to try to still get a guilty verdict in a way, because he has this kind of Karaini's spiritual level of he's already figured out she's guilty in his head, so he wants her to be guilty one way or the other? I'm wondering. Defense, if you believe the accused did not murder the victim, then do you argue that it was an accident? This is it. The all-important question.
The defense argues that Mr. Rias's death was
an accident or murder. If we argue it was an accident, that would put Trucy on the spot for that, because we have the fake sword and the rubber sword. So we can't do that, because one, the evidence doesn't suggest that she actually did that, and two, this is Phoenix Wright. Our clients are never guilty, except that one time that they were. So it's time for murder!
The defense maintains that the defendant is entirely innocent. We believe that it wasn't an accident, but murder. And what's more, we believe it was committed by a third party.
A third party? As in the true culprit is someone else? Interesting. Well, I mean, we pretty much know who it is, right? I mean, it feels really obvious to me that it's, let me look at the people real quick, that it's Roger and Bonnie, probably. Also, I just realized Bonnie defame, it's kind of like defame, because she's the one defaming Trucy. And then Roger Rettens, 35, a producer at Take-Two TV, known as the Ratings Raja. He's famous, apparently. Yeah. Oh, and then there's Nayuda Samadi. Okay. A prosecutor from Karain. He's also a monk, which explains why he's known as the Last Rites Prosecutor. Everybody has a weird nickname in this. That's very Japanese, though. That is quite a brazen claim to make, and one wholly without grounds. Your voice is as loud as your suit, and your mind echoes just as loudly in emptiness. Surely you were but a loud red pepper in your previous life.
I've been demoted to a vegetable?
How? I didn't know a person could be reincarnated as a non-sentient plant.
In any case, I do have grounds to make this claim. Let us hear this reasoning of yours, then. All right, but before I give it, there is one question that we need to address. If the victim was killed by some third party, then the sword the defendant thrust into the coffin wasn't the cause of death. If that's the case, then how did we wind up with a dead body inside the coffin? A very good question. Now, let's hear your opinion, Mr. Justice. How did the victim's body wind up inside the coffin? He was killed in the coffin. It was magic. Okay, I mean, listen. This is a series that has spirit mediums. You know, we had a reflecting pool that showed the victim's last moments. Like this was some like bizarre take on pushing daisies in the last case. But magic, nah, that's going way too far. None of that. He was actually killed understage. That's what I think, at least. That's what I think. I think he was killed understage. What if the victim was killed under the stage before being put into the coffin? In other words, what if the victim was already dead in the coffin from the get-go? So the reason I think that supports this is that he still had his cloak on from when he was flying. That the cloak, I'm thinking, was there to disguise the carabiner he had on his back, on the belt. And I'm thinking he wouldn't have had that on for him getting resurrected in the play, or in the stage show. Oh, I see. In that case, the defendant's sword wouldn't have been the cause of death. How do you respond, Prosecutor Sadmati? That is the third time. The third time of what? Oh no. Yeah. He got beated. He beated him down. What the heck is this? My ninja info cards. Okay. Oh, ow, 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 my head! Wait a minute. Hang on. Okay. This is me going nuts here, but he just used a power to make something apply pressure to him. Do note, Apollo has the bracelet that pressures his wrist when he sees someone lying. So, is there a connection there? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that would be interesting. Even the merciful Holy Mother loses patience if she is struck 3 times. Since you never learn, you needed to be punished. Why don't you let me worry about what I need and don't need? It is what you deserve for interfering with my sacred last rites for the victim. You are a brainless lawyer chasing phantoms. You know nothing. Let this humble servant of the Holy Mother give you an edifying sermon. A sermon? Now? There is a passage in the sacred scriptures of Quranism. A cornered frog will swallow even a snake. Huh? A cornered lawyer has unexpectedly struck back hard against the prosecution. Wait, the judge got that? Did I get it right? No, for I am not done with my sermon. Oh, he didn't. Okay. And yet, the frog still dies, its belly bitten and torn from within. Just great. And in this case, you are that frog defense. What exactly is your point, anyway? Let us assume for a moment that the victim was killed under the stage. Who then had the opportunity to do so during the show? Well, let's see. The people in the show were Bonnie DeFemme, the victim, Mysterious, and Trucy Wright. Bonnie DeFemme was on stage throughout the entire show, as easily confirmed by the footage from the show. Which leaves us with only one suspect, Trucy Wright. Ugh! Now, do you see? The accused killed Mr. Rios as he waited on standby in the understage passage, and then placed his dead body in the coffin above, thus making the murder look like an accident. No! There's that butterfly again. Oh, great and merciful Holy Mother, thus another putrid mind has been guided toward enlightenment. Ugh, I can't believe I swallowed his trick question whole. LOL, said the snake. LMAO. Oh, wait. Sorry, but I have to raise an objection here. Athena, what do you... There's something I want to point out, Apollo. And who might you be? You strike me as a mere child in countenance. I may be young, but I have an attorney's badge just the same. Yeah, but he's racist against attorneys. And you would contribute to this discussion in that capacity? I most certainly would. Oh, are we going to do an evaluation? You just argued that the defendant killed the victim under the stage. But let me remind you that Miss Wright is a girl. Clearly. Surely you didn't raise an objection simply to point out such an obvious fact. Your Honor, please send for this little child's guardian to come take her home. This guy is the epitome of polite is not necessarily nice. But I'm not done with my sermon! You don't need to talk like Prosecutor Sadmati, you know. Listen, if the victim was killed in the understage passage, then his body would then have to be hauled up to the stage, right? However, Miss Wright is a young girl, and a pretty petite one at that. She couldn't possibly have hefted that large body up and put it in the coffin, right? Because she's like a 17-year-old girl, like she said, and he was a 30-year-old man who looked to have been in pretty decent shape. So, yeah, that's a bit inconsistent. That's true. It does seem like it would be a rather difficult task for the defendant. I don't think even I could do it. I know what he's going to point out. What do you think of that, prosecutor? Who's the child now? In my religion, the priestesses of Qur'anism are revered as the pillars of our beliefs. So I naturally hold nothing but deep respect for women. Oh, he's a woman respecter. Watch out. I also think highly of the female perspective. Says the man who called this fair maiden a little child. Who's a fair maiden? I agree that your point is worth discussing, defense. How, indeed, was the dead body raised up into the coffin? Okay, pause. I know what he's going to argue. It's the carabiner. Easy. That's what he's going to argue. By the accused Trucy Wright, that is. You're committed to pointing the finger at her no matter what, huh? Then you explain how that even be possible. But of course. A freaking butterfly! There was a way for even a small creature like her to raise the victim's body up. Huh? Wait, you really can explain it? I foresaw that our arguments would come to this, so I have prepared a witness. Well, well, I admire your readiness, prosecutor. It is really not that difficult when one can read the ultimate outcome of any trial. Couldn't have really predicted that things would turn out like this, could he? It's pretty hard to believe. Excuse me, but may I step down now? Yes, I suppose you may. One moment, Detective Sky. Huh. I'm sorry for, the way I handled all of this. You did a fine job, Detective. Your testimony was invaluable. It was? Yes, you served well as a detective and did not allow your personal feelings to interfere. You overcame the conflicted emotions you felt and performed your duty admirably. You will be rewarded for your fine work.
Oh, thank you. I hope we can work together again in the future. Emma seems bewildered by the unexpected praise. I guess he's a pretty nice person, like they say, as long as you're not up against him.
Now then, let us call the next witness.
Okay. There she is. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the court. It's very nice to meet all of you. I'm a laga-morphing illusionist from the land of fairy tales, Bonnie de Fam. I can't wait to do some magic tricks for all of you. Please, witness, there is a time and a place for all things, including magic. Oh, but it would be okay if I do just a little magic, right? Come on, please. Look, everybody's waiting. Now it's my chance to shine. That is your second time. My second time doing what? There will be no further warnings. You should know that from our preparatory meeting, correct? Eve! Is no one exempt from His Holiness's Rosary of Suffering? That sounds like a pretty sweet Diablo piece of gear. The Rosary of Suffering.
May we have your testimony, witness, once you've recovered from your disappointment?
Well, he's a huge fan of Trucy's.
Lie.
I don't really want to testify against her, but I guess I have to, don't I? He's a huge fan of Trucy's, huh? I hate her! I loathe her! I can't stand that Trucy right! Just because she's little good at magic. She thinks she's all that. So this is exactly what that sniveling brat deserves. Sure, you're a real fan, all right. Of destroying Trucy, you mean? Yeah. It's, I mean, okay. Going off of the example of the previous game, Dual Destinies, the second case, we got to see that, Florent LaBelle was the killer immediately. So, like, is it being so obvious to play it straight, or is it being so obvious to subvert it later? I'm still... jury's out, because this series likes to vary things sometimes. The Understage Passage. Here we go. I really can't believe that Tracy killed Mysterious. I guess it's possible for a small girl to lift a dead body up if she used a stage lift. Is it possible? Could Trucy really have? If Trucy did use a stage lift, I think she must have used stage lift number 2. I was on stage for the entire show, by the way. That's interesting. Why would you say that? You were on stage the whole time? And you're sure about that? There is no question. The entire audience could testify to that fact. What's more, she is shown clearly in the TV show footage as well. I couldn't possibly have killed Mysterious, not little old me. Therefore, the only person who could have killed the victim on stage is the accused. Furthermore, by using a stage lift, even a petite young lady could have raised the body up to the stage without difficulty. You've got to be kidding me.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Cross-examination. The Understage Passage. Alright. Trucy killed Mysterious. You said you were a huge fan of Trucy's, isn't that right? Oh yes, I even became a magician because I wanted to be just like her. She's younger than you, though. The first time I saw her, she was performing at the Wonder Bar. Okay, we did mention that before. That was mentioned in Apollo Justice. She was only in junior high back then, but she got up on stage with tons of confidence. And then she proceeded to win my heart with her astonishing tricks and winning smile. She certainly sounds like she means all of that. So finally being able to perform with her must have been quite a treat for you, right? Oh yes. After all, it was my chance to have her see me, not just as a fan, but as a fellow magician. Uh-oh. He said no tricks. But then that horrible accident happened. It was not an accident. It was murder. Witness, please explain, if you would, how a small young woman such as Trucy Wright could have raised the body. Guess it's possible for a small girl to lift a dead body. What makes you think it would be possible? It's not like you tried it out yourself, right? Well, actually, we did try it out for ourselves. You did? Detective Sky, if you would. Oh, so that's why you made me do that. Detective Sky, what did he have you do? The prosecutor asked me to try raising one of the male police officers with the stage lift, without a single word of that explanation as to why he was making me do it. You're kidding. It's as if he really can foresee all of our counter-arguments. Do not underestimate this humble servant of the Holy Mother. More like haughty. I guess that means Trucy could have lifted the dead body up. Does that mean... Is it possible? Could Trucy really have? Let's push on this. Is what possible? Could Trucy really have what, Mr. Pham? Please, finish your sentence. Well, I... Don't try to beat around the bush. Come right out and say it. Why not tell us, this court, what you really believe? What I really believe? Of course I don't believe Trucy could ever commit murder. Such an amazing and wonderful magician would never do such a thing. But taking all the facts into account, what else can I think? I know of at least 3 other unflattering things you really think about Trucy. How can you attack this girl when she is obviously speaking with reserve? There is such a thing as reading between the lines, Mr. Justice. It's sad how the youth of today lack the ability to do such a basic thing. Looking at me like that isn't going to help me stick my foot in my mouth less, Your Honor. Witness, please describe what the accused might have used to lift the dead body. All right. I will have no more of this skibbity-riz nonsense, Mr. Justice. What do we got? If Trucy did use a stage lift, I think she must have used stage lift number 2. Oh, hang on a second. Wait a minute. Let's look at our evidence again real quick. Because the stage lift Trucy had to move out of the way during the show since it was already all the way up. That seems like a really obvious contradiction, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's finish pressing and then we'll present it. Stage lift number 2? You mean the stage lift shown here on the left? That's right. With a stage lift, I think even a small girl could easily lift a dead body up to the stage. And so that makes her the murderer, in your opinion? Oh, of course not. I believe in Trucy. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of hers. Oh, brother, how long is she going to keep this act up? Defense, what position was stage lift number 2 in after the show? Let's see. If I recall, it was in the fully raised position. Ah! And the reason why it was fully raised is because the accused used it to lift the victim's body. Wouldn't you agree? Feel free to slowly mull it over while you roast over the flames of hell, you evil red pepper. Oh my gosh. Man, Apollo's gotten all sorts of hair forehead, the demon attorney, and now he's the evil red pepper. So now I'm also evil? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we did bring it up. That's interesting. I was on stage for the entire show, by the way. Alright, let's talk about that. You didn't have a single spare moment to slip down to the understage passage? Huh? Don't tell me you suspect me now. I'm just trying to do my job by fully examining your alibi. Depending on how solid it is, I might have to suspect you, yes. You gotta be kidding me! Don't spit on my head and tell me it's raining, lawyer boy! I'm right there in the footage, or are you too much of an idiot to see? Huh?
Mr. Pham, are you feeling all right? You seem suddenly different.
Oh, oops. Where did that come from, right? Oh my, I seem to have snapped there for a second, didn't I? You didn't just snap, you broke character just now. In any case, I was on stage the whole time, performing magic. I mean, you saw me in the footage, right? My dazzling and flawless performance? Flawless? That's odd, considering what you told me. You said that you'd made a mistake with where you positioned Mr. Hat.
Yeah. Mr. Pham, to what is the defense referring?
Well, I made a little mistake on stage. I was in charge of operating Mr. Hat, you see. According to the script, I was supposed to place him to the left of the coffin. But I flubbed it up and made him stand to the right of the coffin instead. And because of that mistake, Trucy had to move the stage lifts around. I feel really bad about messing Trucy up like that with my goof. Darn it, I don't see any inconsistencies in her testimony. Now do you know who the real killer is? Come on, Gramps, don't just sit there. Hand down your ruling, pronto! Do it quick before you keel over up there.
I beg your pardon?
Oops. Oh, what's gotten into me? I'm so sorry. I give her another 5 minutes before she tears off that mask. Well, defense, are you ready to let it all go now?
Of course not. I'll never give up.
I see. I suppose this too is fate. The sacred scriptures of Kurainism describe a variety of hells for the damned. For someone like you who struggles ceaselessly against his fate, Papul Boljig seeks most appropriate. People boil... What? Oh wait, that's Kurainese. Wait, the man who struggles against his fate is Apollo Guts? Is the Skull Knight gonna come save us?
What sort of terrible face is Papul Boljig?
A place where the more one struggles, the further one falls into the abyss. At the bottom of the abyss, a ferocious beast awaits. Think of it as something akin to an antlion's sandpit trap.
Oh, there's one of those in my backyard.
Wow, Kuraina's towel is closer to home than I thought.
I have a pit to hell in my backyard. That explains a lot. Well, now then, it would appear that the witness's testimony supports the prosecution's claims that the defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim on the stage.
How are we supposed to get out of this jam? Hey, Apollo, if you can't find any contradictions, maybe it's time to use analytical psychology. Oh, sweet, we are going to use that. Actually, I like that minigame. You mean, I heard some discord in Bonnie's voice while she was testifying. Hey, we're back to that. See? The widget is picking up on the noise in her heart, too. That's right. Athena can hear things others can't with her super sensitive hearing. She can hear the emotions people suppress as a kind of noise or discord in their voices. All right, Athena, let's give it a try. You got it. Your Honor? I'm afraid that our witness, Mr. Pham, is suffering under terrible traumatic stress due to this horrible incident.
She is?
Yes, what with that terrible death on stage and her beloved Trucy getting arrested, she's under awful strain and shock. In fact, I don't know how much more she can take before she is unfit to testify. What?
Oh, I've heard of that. What is it called? Postal stress disorder, right? It's where a person becomes uncontrollably angry, I think. I read about it somewhere.
That's going postal, Your Honor. This is PTSD.
No, my. So that's why the witness acts so hostile at times, as if she were a different person. She's played those postal video games. My grandchild has played those.
Yes, and I think her condition is clouding her memory of the incident. Therefore, I suggest a short therapy session for the witness. Huh? Therapy? You don't know the first thing about a magician's mental strength. I've risked my life jumping through rings of fire and having my body sewn in half. Oopsie. Boy, I have to watch my temper, don't I?
Miss Sykes, please do whatever you can to help this unfortunate young lady.
And what exactly is this child planning to do, Mr. Justice? With her super sensitive hearing, Miss Sykes can hear a witness's true emotions. Simply from tone and inflection, she can tell exactly what a person is feeling. I can even pick out feelings that a witness is trying to suppress or hide. Widget projects the emotions I hear into the mood matrix where I can analyze them. It sounds like some sort of spurious devilry. Though I find it hard to believe, I must ask, how do emotions constitute evidence?
Well, I won't say that emotions can be taken as evidence per se. I have seen how instrumental Miss Sykes' work has been in cracking a case. Therefore, I wholly support giving it a try.
I see. If you're in favor of it, Your Honor, then I have no objections. Even this mere monk can see that something disturbs the witness.
I'll disturb you!
Oh, thank you for understanding, Prosecutor Sedmati. Apollo, you remember how to conduct a therapy session, right?
You want me to lead the session?
Of course, you're the lead on this case after all. Fair enough. Do I need a refresher? No need, we've been doing that plenty. I think I still remember from the last time, so let's get right into it. Okie dokie. You ready, Widget? Let's do this! Alright, here we go. I guess Trucy is the one who killed Mr. Rios. Alright, so that's her putting the sword through his back. Yikes. Gross. And she's very, very sad about that. Even she could move the body with that lift. She's sad about that, too. I love the evil smile on Trucy's face there. I was on stage at the time. She feels absolutely nothing about that statement, which is weird. But that terrible mistake. She's surprised? Why is she surprised about that? My stupid flub caused Trucy so much trouble. I feel so bad about it. Wait a minute. I feel so bad about it, and yet you're happy? That's an obvious problem. I have to say, Mr. Pham, you certainly are a strange one. Even though you said I feel so bad about it, it seems you were feeling happy about it. Ouch! I think I can guess why you were feeling happy. It must be because it was Trucy's big debut, you made a mistake, you messed Trucy up. Yep. You messed her up. I think you were happy because you messed the defendant up. Yeah. I'm right, aren't I? You gotta be kidding me! Why would I be happy I messed Trucy up? I'm a big fan of hers! Because we saw you. I hate her. I loathe her. I can't stand that Trucy right. Just because she's a little good at magic, she thinks she's all that. So this is exactly what that sniveling brat deserves. We saw how you said you hated Trucy Wright. how you were glad she was in trouble, and even how it was what she deserved. Ouch! It looks like I hit the bunny on the head, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. So this is like April, May, like the whole she goes berserk and has a different personality kind of thing. There we go. That was correct. Apollo, the noise level dropped. Now if we could get it down to 0%. Well, Mr. Pham, are you ready to confess how you really feel? Wait, what? What do you mean? I'm Bonnie, the sweet, cute little bunny. I'm a rookie magician working hard to be just like my idol, Trucy. That's the character I'm supposed to be. Keep that up, Mr. Pham, and you're gonna have a mental breakdown. Just let yourself be who you really are. Who I really am? The two sides of you are fighting each other and doing you psychic harm. I can hear them. Two distinct voices battling inside you. You might even call it emotional damage. Shut your pie hole, you know-nothing know-it-all. Ugh, I mean, you mustn't say things like that, or I might get flustered. Mr. Pham, how long do you insist on maintaining this wolf in sheep's clothing act? You can't end this therapy session until you get real with us. Set the wild beast inside you free. Ouch! Ugh. Ugh. It's very quiet again. Don't make me laugh. You don't know a dang thing about me. You want to see who I really am? Fine. Take a good look. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. What? Wait, she's a bat now? Okay. And also she's holding an umbrella. People who hold umbrellas in Phoenix Wright games are always evil. What in the world? Sheep's clothing? You've got it all wrong. It's a rabbit suit I've got on. And I'm not a wolf, I'm a blood-sucking vampire. A bat with fangs and wings. I think we just opened Pandora's box. I'm finally done with that goody two-shoes cottontail act. I feel free as a bat. Defense! Your therapy session has taken a turn for the worse from the looks of it. There's a perfectly good explanation for this, isn't there, Miss Sykes? Methinks I created a monster. We blew it. Hey, you! Lobster boy! Who, me? You think I'm glad Trucy's in trouble? That I think she's getting her just desserts? Well, guess what? You're right! Does this mean you admit to wishing the defendant harm? Well, the bat is out of the bag now. That mistake of mine was a work of art. Thanks to my goof, poor little Trucy had to do all of that hard physical labor. When you say hard physical labor, what are you referring to? Because of Mr. Hat's new position, Trucy had to move both of those huge stage lifts. They must have been so heavy. What a riot! That's strange. Athena, could you please add that last statement to Bonnie's testimony? Right. I see what's going on here. Here's the thing. Because if that stage was lifted up, then the idea that she used lift number 2 to move the body up was impossible, because then it was already up before she even moved the body. So because she would have had to use the other stage lift for that. So we're creating a contradiction here. This is good. This is good. Huh? Oh, hey, Apollo. Now there's a new inconsistency in the testimony. Yeah, she finally slipped up. So what do I need to do now? Well, from this point onward, you just do what you do best. Find the contradiction in the testimony and present evidence to refute it. All right, I've got you now, Bonnie DeFam. I guess Trucy is the one who killed Mr. Rias. Even she could move the body with that lift, which we've already established is a contradiction. I was on stage at the time, but that terrible mistake. Here we go. You know what? Serves her right. Kiki. Okay. Thanks to that, she ended up having to move the stage lifts. There we go. This had to move out of the way. Do we have... Trucy, Bonnie messed up Mr. Hat's position for the escape trick, placing him opposite the scripted location on the right side. As a result, Trucy had to quickly move the lifts under the stage. She never told anyone that she had moved the stage lifts. Okay. What's the exact... I know the problem, but I need to figure out, is it stage lift 2 or is it her statement? Maybe it's stage lift 2. Let's see. No, that's wrong. Mr. Pham, I believe your statement contradicts with this piece of evidence. Oh, really? And how does it do that? I mean, you can explain it, right? No, because we messed up. Because if you mess up, it will suck to be you, to get my drift. I can't do it. Ha, just as I thought. I'm not ready to be her human juice box just yet. Oh no. Yeah, seriously. I'm afraid the witness and I disagree on one point, Mr. Justice, because I'd say it does suck to be you right now. Oh my gosh. That was a sick burn, Judge. Ah, well, there goes a part of a pint of blood anyway. I don't think that's where the contradiction is, Apollo. Apparently not. But there was that one statement where Bonnie let something slip. Right, the little hole in her testimony that we've been waiting for. Well, we know what the hole is. We just don't know, we do have a piece of evidence I can challenge your careless comment with. I better take another look. Yeah, got it. Alright, thanks to that, she ended up having to move the stage lifts. Okay, hang on a second. Thanks to that, she ended up having to move the stage lifts. So, let's see. Turn, show script, Bonnie's teleportation trick, and Trucy's escape trick. Mr. Rias' fire trick is the only thing that didn't happen. And of course, there was the fire bucket that was not filled. That's probably going to come up later. So for now, let's see what we have. Contract, which is, I don't think, Trucy's statement. Trucy moved the stage lifts to cover for Bonnie's mistake. She told no one about this. Bonnie messed up Mr. Hat's position for the escape trick, placing him opposite the scripted location on the right side. As a result, Trucy had to quickly move the lifts under the stage. She never told anyone that she had moved the stage lifts. So if she never told anyone, is that what we're getting at? Because it wasn't this, obviously. So I'm thinking it wasn't stage lift number 2. So is it Trucy's statement? She never told anybody, including Bonnie? Let's see. Oh, I think we got it. That doesn't make sense. Go back. What? So you think I'm crazy now? No, that's not the point I was trying to make. But I don't hear you denying it. Mr. Pham, allow me to repeat your statement. Thanks to that, she ended up having to move the stage lifts. That's right. And I still say that's just what she does. But how did you know? How did you know Miss Wright moved the stage lifts? Huh? According to her own statement, she didn't tell anyone that she had done so. What?
So how could you possibly have known what she had done unless you saw her? You saw Miss Wright moving the lifts in the understage passage, didn't you? Nice. There she is. She kind of looks like Tron Bonne there. I know that's a pretty deep cut for some folks, but I'm getting that vibe from her in this picture. %0 noise level. Nice. You did it, Apollo. Noise levels are at 0%.
But, Mr. Justice, wouldn't that mean...
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Pham herself was under the stage where the victim was killed. And I hardly need to tell the court what that means.
Yeah.
You are one artful liar, Mr. Pham, and one spectacular suspect.
Yeah!
All right.
Why, you shiny red lobster boy! You're saying I killed Mr. Rias?
I'm saying that it's a possibility. What's more, I say you had a solid motive to frame my client for the murder as well. My apologies for raining on the defense's merry revelry, but you seem to have forgotten one very important point.
Oh, really?
The TV footage. As you can clearly see, Misty Pham was on the stage the whole time. The entire audience can bear witness to that fact, including you.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously she had an accomplice. We know who it is. You have just taken a long and senseless journey, only to return to the starting line. The witness could not have been in the understage passage, which means the only one left who could have killed the victim is the accused.
Ah!
Yes, the party's over.
But Mr. Pham knew something she couldn't have known unless she was under the stage. How do you explain that, Prosecutor Sedmati?
It's quite simple. The accused must have told Mr. Pham about it, but then forgot.
Ha! Open those useless eyes of yours and take a good look at the footage.
If Mr. Pham really was in the understage passage, it would mean she was on stage and understage at the same time.
You mean she was in two places at once? That does seem to be the only explanation that makes any sense.
It may be an explanation, but I'm not so sure about the makes sense part.
Then we'll just have to make it make sense. Your Honor, the witness was both on stage and understage at the same time. That is the defense's assertion. I've heard some illogical things come out of you before, but this is absurd.
I'm sure you'll change your tune once you hear my reasoning, Your Honor.
My gut tells me you're bluffing, but I'll bite. Very well, Mr. Justice. How do you explain how the witness was in two places at once?
She teleported, obviously. There were two Bonnies. The Bonnie on stage was fake. Wait a minute. She teleported. Hang on a second.
Bonnie's teleportation trick and Trucy's escape trick.
Can we see the footage again? I want to see that again real quick. Because there she is. Yeah. And then the guy, yeah, the Mr. Hat does the sword stab, then he gets pulled up. I see the shadow of him moving up. And then there's Trucy holding the sword. Yeah. And then she does the sword into the coffin. So at what point, that was Trucy's teleportation trick, so what was Bonnie's teleportation trick?
Because the camera's on Trucy the whole time. We don't see the body. There's Trucy. And that's when they discover that it's Mr. Rios who's dead. Right. And then the dragon falls. Why does the dragon fall, by the way? We haven't gotten into that yet. Alright. There were 2 Bonnies. The Bonnie on stage was fake. I think she teleported might actually be it. Let's say that. Just even for fun. Let's not forget that Mr. Fam's specialty is teleportation magic. With teleportation, she can be in 2 places at practically the same time. This was not right, was it? So you believe that teleportation actually exists? Hey, hang on just a second. I want to plug the Phoenix Wright, or I guess Ace Attorney stage plays, because there actually is one called Turnabout Teleportation that stars Edgeworth, and it's based on the Investigations games, and it is about whether or not someone actually could teleport. It's really, really fun. All of the Ace Attorney stage plays are great, and I think they're all on YouTube subtitled, so you have no reason not to watch them. The one I think Turnabout Gold Medal is pure insanity and worth watching. Well, you know what magicians always say about their magic. It's all real, no tricks or gimmicks involved. Well, I have listened patiently to your reasoning, and the only thing dispelled is the false air of competency you tried to project. I see what you did there. Good one, Your Honor. Ho, ho, ho! You might be surprised to hear this, but I used to be known as the Jokester Judge. Well, at least I avoided a penalty with some well-placed brown-nosing. Please let me try again, Your Honor. Very well, Mr. Justice. Alright, there were 2 Bonnies. The Bonnie on stage was fake. Well, okay. I was thinking that Rettins was downstage and she found out from him. But actually, no, never mind, because they did say Rettins was at the, was it the Scamble Gamble show the whole time? So he wouldn't have been there. The Bonnie on stage was fake. How would it be fake? Maybe there were 2 Bonnies. Let's try that. There were 2 Bonnies, Your Honor. If that were the case, it would all make sense, wouldn't it? There were 2 of them? I suspected you had a few screws loose, but now I see there are some missing altogether. Is there a toolkit in this courtroom, Your Honor? I suppose 3 screws to the head should righten his putrid brain. Very well, bailiff, could you... No, wait, please listen to my argument. Very well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to at least give it a listen. As was argued earlier, Mr. Pham is shown in the footage the whole time. But at the same time, she was also watching Miss Wright in the understage passage. The only possible explanation is that there are 2 Bonnies. That almost sounds like it makes sense. So this is like a prestige thing? Sorry to spoil that movie, but yeah. What do you think, Prosecutor said, Marty? This humble servant of the Holy Mother is of the opinion that we should lose no time in replacing the defense's many lost screws. But Apollo, it goes against reality itself to say that one person is actually 2. But we don't have to be bound by reality. After all, we're talking about magic here. So if the Bonnie DeFam in the footage is the real Bonnie, then the Bonnie here on the witness stand, the one who must have been understage, this Bonnie DeFam is our second Bonnie. She is? Say we call the one in front of us Bonnie number 2. I believe I have just the piece of evidence to prove that a Miss Bonnie number 2 exists, and it's called Mambo number 5. No, or number 9, whatever that song was. Oh, then please submit your evidence, Mr. Justice. What proves the existence of a Bonnie number 2? Bonnie's teleportation trick. What proves the existence? That's a good question. A contract signed by Trucy. What does? Oh, hang on a second. I have a thought. Not the, no. No. What about, in addition to prints from the victim and Bonnie, a set of unknown fingerprints were found on the top? That could be the fact that there was a set of unknown fingerprints. Because we don't know. Because they did say, because Emma went around and got everybody's fingerprints. If there was only one Bonnie, she would have gotten the one set of prints. So the unknown prints probably belong to the Bonnie in front of us. Let's see. What's this? During our investigation, we found a set of unknown prints on the coffin on the stage. These prints were most likely left during the course of the show. But they didn't match the prints of any of the people involved in the case. An unknown third party's fingerprints. I was not told of this. Emma must have kept it from him. So the question is, who could these prints possibly belong to? Mr. Pham, or should I say Bonnie number 2? These are your fingerprints, aren't they? Yeah! Oh. Enough of this foolishness. One person could not possibly be two. These fingerprints could have been left, not only during the show, but at any time. It's not like you lose your cool like that, Prosecutor Sadmati. And I'm sure you know that exactly when the fingerprints were made is not the main issue. What do you mean by that, Mr. Justice? The issue is who do these unknown prints belong to? They're certainly not Bonnie DeFam's. But what if they belong to the person standing right in front of us? Oh, you mean Bonnie number 2 is the second Bonnie? Is that what you're implying? It's preposterous to suggest that these prints belong to the witness. I say they must belong to some other unknown individual. Prosecutor Sadmati, can you really look at her and still say that? What are you looking at? Take a picture. It'll last longer. How could this be? If we check her prints, I'm sure they'll match the unknown set. Well, Bonnie, the prints that don't belong to the real you belong to you, don't they? Bonnie number 2. Yeah! Witness, is what the defense has said true? Fine, I admit it. The fingerprints are mine. Then does that mean you aren't Bonnie DeFam? What? Ridiculous. Are there really 2 Bonnies? Nope, there's only one Bonnie. That's because I'm Betty. Betty DeFam. What? Ladies and gentlemen of the court, it's time for a wondrous magic show. Gasp in amazement as this legomorphing illusionist performs her teleportation magic. Watch closely, it's showtime! Oh, she's got the bunny one. And there's the bat. Are they gonna go on to stand at the same time? Yeah. Okay. What an amazing trick! The witness has suddenly split into 2 people! It's not a trick. No gimmick to it either. We're simply twins.
What?
Twins?
So that's how the teleportation trick works.
Ever since our debut, I've had to hide or pretend I'm Bonnie. All cute and sweet and goody-goody. I can't tell you how stressful it's been. But I don't have to hide anymore. That's right, our days of sneaking around are finally over.
Their cover is blown, but they actually seem pretty happy about it. So which of you is the nice Bonnie DeFam we met in the dressing room?
That would be me.
And the sharp-tongued Bonnie we saw with the ratings Raja understage was...
Hey, who are you calling sharp-tongued?
It's all starting to make sense now. The fingerprinting results updated. All right, so in addition to prints from the victim and Bonnie, Betty DeFam's fingerprints were found on the top. Okay, so there are some twists to this. I like that.
So, Mr. Justice, this changes the facts of the case rather dramatically, doesn't it?
It certainly does. During the show, it was Bonnie who was on stage the whole time. So Bonnie couldn't have committed the crime. But Betty, on the other hand, who was understage, did have the opportunity. Yeah?
Well, so we now have two suspects.
Wait just a minute there, Lobster Boy. I didn't do it. That's right. Betty might have a foul mouth, but she'd never kill anybody. Hey, who's got a foul mouth here?
Oh,
Well, speak up, huh?
please save your sibling squabbling for later. Betty, you must have been in the understage passage during the show. Otherwise, you wouldn't have known about the stage lifts being moved. So what exactly were you doing down there?
Fine, I'll testify. Anything to get you off my back.
Prosecutor said, Betty DeFam is ready to testify. What do you say?
Betty, you lied to this humble servant of the Holy Mother.
Hey, what else could I do? I couldn't blow our cover and ruin our magic act. Hee hee hee. Besides, am I gonna go to your twilight hell or whatever for being a liar?
You will indeed. However, it won't be after your death. Rather, I shall give you a taste of your punishment on this mortal coil in interrogation hell.
Now then, Betty DeFam, please explain to this court what exactly you were doing under the stage.
What happened understage?
It's true. I had business in the understage passage because of the upcoming trick. It was the fire trick, right? The one Mr. Rios was supposed to do? That's right. It's a very dangerous trick. I wanted to make sure we were prepared for it. It was in the script, and I really wanted to see it, but I couldn't because of the accident. Shut up! You're gonna give it away! Anyway, I was real busy. Yeah, way too busy to have the chance to kill Mr. Rios.
Okay. But we know that there was something up with the fire trick. Well, that was certainly different.
How's that for a flawless testimony and alibi? Up. Our magic is real. It's not a trick or a gimmick.
Oh my! She's floating!
Your Honor. You can see she's being held up from below. You were supposed to pretend you didn't see that. It's a little something called etiquette. But I can't help it. Whenever I see a contradiction or inconsistency, I just have to point it out.
And now then, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
Okay. What happened understage? Got it. 2, I had business in the understage passage. Okay. if you were in the understage passage, which, need I remind you, was the crime scene, then you most certainly should be counted as a potential suspect.
But I didn't have any motive to kill Mr. Rios.
But you, by your own admission, hate Miss Wright. When she was arrested as a suspect, you said it was what she deserved.
So you believe the witness killed a man simply due to her dislike of Trilogy Wright? As a motive, is that not improbable at best?
But what if her hatred caused her to bear a strong sense of malice against my client?
Look, Trilogy just made me mad, that's all. I mean, even though she's younger than me, she's got so much skill and popularity. And she's cute, besides. Urgh, that makes me so mad. I wish she would drop dead.
Betty, don't talk like that.
Shut your yap.
So it was just simple jealousy?
Say, Betty, that next trick you were getting ready for. Which was the fire trick, the one Mr. Rios was supposed to do.
Bonnie, we're trying to get Betty's testimony right now, so...
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
You can step down if you'd like.
I'm worried about Betty, though. She can lose her temper and say awful things sometimes.
Hey, what are you, my mother? Don't forget, I'm the older sister. You got that?
Meep, yes, I got it. Meep, I guess I'd worry about Mount Betty constantly blowing her top if I were Bonnie, too. So, Betty, you were down under stage getting ready for the fire trick, were you? Okay, what does she have to say to that? That's right, it's a very dangerous trick, so I had to make sure we were prepared for it. Okay, I'm wondering... The fire bucket, a bucket to be used in case of fire, not only was it empty, but dust lines the inside of the pail, because we have, the show script, Mr. Rios' fire trick. This will be dangerous, make sure the fire bucket is ready. It's not ready. So I had to make sure we were prepared for it. I wonder if this is the contradiction. Because I know the fire bucket not being prepared is a big deal. Let's try it. Let's try it. I think we got it.
I hate to break this to you, Betty, but there's a big flaw in your testimony. As big as the one in that floating trick you did earlier.
Oh, harsh words. Well, let me tell you something, forehead boy. No one has ever figured out how we do our teleportation trick.
No one except me, you mean?
Well,
we have even better tricks up our sleeves.
Huh? We do?
I told you to keep it zipped. Now, don't fight, you two. Mr. Justice, what's this about a flaw in the testimony?
The script has this to say about the fire trick. This will be dangerous. Make sure the fire bucket is ready. However, we found the fire bucket lying empty backstage except for a layer of dust.
Ah! Ouch.
You didn't even attempt to get ready for the next trick, did you, Betty?
You got me!
Okay.
Betty the Femme, you will explain yourself.
Yeah, there's nothing to explain. Come on, Betty. We can't hide it any longer. We might as well tell them.
Shut up! You can barely take care of yourself. Don't try and tell me what to do.
Well, if neither of you will explain, I guess I'll have to. The reason Betty didn't prepare for the fire trick is because she knew the show wouldn't go on. Yeah. You didn't prepare for the fire trick because you knew, didn't you? You knew that the body would be found and the show would then be canceled. Yeah!
Don't be ridiculous, you insignificant speck of a man. I'm gonna yank those lame bangs of yours off. Is that what you want, huh?
Whatever. They can grow back.
Now stop stalling and just tell us the truth already.
I love it.
I can't reveal my secrets. I'm a magician.
You have been chasing the shadow of an illusory culprit, Defense. And having chanced upon a convenient target, you have let yourself get carried away.
Huh? Exactly. Where's your proof, huh?
And yet, I concede that the witness's taste for false words has also been proven. I advise you to confine your deceitful trickery to your magic act, witness.
Deceitful trickery? As your court-appointed therapist, I'd like to add something here, Betty. You finally let yourself be who you really are. But if you continue to hide behind lies, you'll just be imprisoning your heart all over again. Heh, but all these questions means you're trying to put me in prison for real. So I'll be behind bars either way.
Does that mean you admitting your guilt?
Of course not. I can't believe you people. Every one of you thinks I did something I didn't do. You lobster boy, cue ball geezer, headcase brat, Cerberus monk. Cerberus monk, that's quite a interesting insult. That's like Spoony Bard level.
Cue ball geezer?
Headcase brat? Really? Petty, calm down. Come on now. Deep breaths, deep breaths.
Look, I'm not the murderer, I tell you.
And how did you know the show would be called off before the fire trick? I told you, we can't reveal our secrets. We're under contract. Contract? What is she talking about? Be that as it may, you're obviously a suspect in this case. I'm beginning to see the karmic threads that make up intricate tapestry that is this case. Huh? Allow me to summarize your assertions, defense. First, that the victim was killed in the understage passage. And second, that the witness and the accused are the only two who could have done it. Exactly. What's more, Betty knew that the body would be found, and that the magic show would then be called off. Therefore, it's reasonable to conclude that Betty killed the victim understage. But what if Betty knew that the show would be called off for some other reason? Like what? In the course of my investigation, I found it strange that the dragon set piece fell when it did. So did I, Nayuda. That, in conjunction with the body tumbling from the coffin in such a dramatic fashion, all seemed too perfect for mere happenstance. It was as though the entire chain of events had been planned out in advance. Kiki! Ouch! Planned out. After deciding to take this case, I scrupulously studied everything I could about the mass media in this country. I read the newspaper, old news reports. I even browsed tabloid magazines.
How very industrious of you. I'm impressed.
During this process, I learned about a strange practice favored by the TV world. A practice called the hidden camera prank.
Ah!
Betty and Bonnie, you knew about this, did you not? About the dead body appearing, the set piece falling, the show being suspended. You two were informed of this plan by Take-Two TV in advance, correct?
Is that true?
Betty, please, let's tell them now. I can't hold it in anymore. Dang it, fine, you got us. Everything the prosecutor said is true. The TV station paid us to cooperate with them out on this plan. It was all a prank, a big setup planned out in advance. Mr. Rhea showed up dead in the coffin. The set piece falling down. It was all completely scripted.
but he wasn't supposed to actually be dead, right? It was all a prank? It was a prank, bro? Bonnie, is this really true?
Yes, Mr. Rios was supposed to pretend to be dead. That's how it was supposed to go. So he was in on it too? That's right. He was supposed to show up dead in the coffin, and then the set piece would fall down. Trucy would be shocked and start to panic. That's how the prank script went.
What? What the heck kind of prank is that?
But we never thought he'd actually wind up dead. Yeah, that was the only thing that was different from the script. Poor Mr. Rios.
I'm so completely lost right now. Well, Betty and Bonnie, it certainly sounds like you have some explaining to do.
All right. I guess desperate times call for desperate measures. Hee, just this once. We'll share how it was done with you. So listen carefully. You'll never hear this kind of thing anywhere else.
There's a bat.
All right. After our teleportation trick, I went downstairs. When Mr. Rios' body appeared from the coffin on stage, it was time for Betty to do her job in the understage passage. That's right. I used the remote control for the winch connected to the dragon set piece and made it fall down. And just before the dragon fell, I called Trucy to the backstage so she wouldn't get hurt. After that, the plan was for Mr. Rios to come back to life in front of a panicked Trucy. He was supposed to laugh and fly up and away. That was how it was scripted, anyway. But for some reason, he really did turn up dead, so he kind of just stayed on the ground. What kind of sick joke is that?
It sounds like a terribly mean-spirited prank to me. The poor defendant was trying to do her magic show.
I guess so. I'm sorry, Trucy. Ha, whatever. It was all the ratings Raj's idea anyway. Yeah, it sounds like just the kind of thing a guy like him would come up with. This is the prank plan script we got from the ratings Raja. Prank plan script. The corpse appearing and the set piece falling were staged by Roger Reddens. Dang it! You made us break our contract. Now we won't get paid. Can I see prank plan script? Mr. Rios' body will appear in the supposedly empty coffin, which should cause a big ruckus. After capturing a bit of Trucy's reaction on film, Mr. Rios will come back to life, laughing and flying up into the air, causing another round of surprise. Okay. That makes sense then, why this recording zooms in on her face, because they were getting her reaction.
But where does this all leave us? Who killed the victim? And when?
Yes, exactly. Those are the key questions. If Mr. Rios was only pretending to be dead in the coffin as part of the prank, then when he was understage, there would still be life within him. And if that is the case, then Betty, who was also understage, may be excluded from our list of suspects. Witness, was the victim alive up until he entered the coffin? Oh, well, now that we spilled the beans, we might as well show you this video.
Oh, we got a new video. Okay. Greetings, viewers. It is I, the great Mr. Rios. We are currently in the middle of Trucy's escape trick. Having snuck through the understage passage undetected, I am now hiding backstage, preparing to play a little prank on Trucy. I am about to hide in the coffin, which Trucy will stab with her rubber sword. And when the coffin opens, I will be in it, acting as though I've met my maker. Can you imagine the look on Trucy's face then? I can hardly wait! Okay.
He's about to hide in the coffin? It would seem the threads of comic destiny have led us to the truth. The victim passed through the understage where Betty DeFam was, and came into the backstage area. We know this because Mr. Rios appeared to be backstage when he shot the video we saw.
It appears that way, yes.
And defense, you proposed the following, did you not? What if the victim was killed under the stage before being put into the coffin? But then, what about this video? This footage was taken just before Mr. Rios entered the coffin.
Yeah. Oh, so does that mean...
Yes, it is horrible but true. The tragedy did indeed play out right there on the stage. Went into the coffin where Mr. Rios was hiding. Trucy Wright thrust her blade.
Oh!
See, I told you so.
So, are you saying the incident was a tragic accident that happened during a prank?
It would be an accident if the accused had no knowledge of the prank beforehand. So, let us ask the accused herself. Miss Wright, did you have prior knowledge of the prank?
What? I... Tell him, Trucy. You didn't know anything about it, right?
Of course I didn't. I didn't know a single thing about it.
Still think you can play innocent, do you? In that case, you leave me little choice but to present this piece of evidence.
It looks like some sort of note.
Oh! That's...
I found this note in the dressing room after the incident. At the time, I did not understand what it meant, but all is clear to me now.
Bunny, get the video camera after Mr. Rios comes tumbling out. Signed, Trucy Wright. Hang on a second. Where's the contract? That's the same signature, the exact same signature. The performance contract. Yeah, Trucy Wright. So, this trick clipboard had her sign two things at once. Yep. So, Rettens is the murderer, probably, and he was trying to frame her. Let's see. It says, get the video camera after Mr. Rios comes tumbling out?
It is a note signed by the accused, instructing Bonnie to collect Mr. Rios' video camera from him, it seems.
I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. I found it in the dressing room before the show. When I saw it, I realized that Trucy knew about the prank. It does bear her signature. I'll give you that much. Trucy's note. All right.
So the defendant had prior knowledge of the prank?
It would appear so, yes. When she learned about the plan to trick her, she decided to use it to her own advantage. So she thrust the steel sword into the coffin, where the victim stood, chuckling to himself. Is that not what happened, Miss Wright?
Of course not. And I didn't write or sign that note.
Ah, but the handwriting matches yours. All of the evidence and testimony points to you being the culprit.
But I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
Then explain the existence of this note. You can do that, can you not?
I can't explain it. I didn't write it. So I don't understand. I didn't kill Mr. Rios. You have to believe me. Lots of dots.
The silence is deafening. Continue struggling against the threads of your own karma if you wish, accused. Even as you are inescapably caught in the web of fate you've spun for yourself. Miss Wright, it is time to resign yourself to your fate.
No, I didn't do it.
Ha! I knew it! That sweet-looking girl, a murderer? She took all of us in with that act of hers. I told you, I knew she was a homicidal little witch from the start.
But I didn't do it. I really didn't. Why doesn't anybody believe me?
Shut up, you killer. We won't fall for that anymore.
Man, the gallery has gotten a lot more violent.
This is bad. Your Honor, I suggest we put an end to this tragedy now. Give your official ruling and let us offer the victim's soul the last rites it deserves. Very well. I suppose I have no other choice. This court hereby finds the defendant, Trilogy, right?
Yeah, we're gonna object.
The defense has an objection.
Apollo?
You, even now, you would. I won't give up, and I refuse to let either of them down. Mr. Wright, who's counting on me, and Trilogy, who's put all of her faith in me. Mr. Justice, the fact that you have raised an objection means that you have evidence with which to refute the prosecution's claims, correct?
Yes, of course, Your Honor.
Do we really have anything, Apollo? Actually, we do. There's one piece of evidence we can present here. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may proceed. As we saw in the show footage, there's no questioning that the defendant thrust a sword into the coffin. The defense doesn't dispute this point. But let us not forget that this was a magic show, filled with tricks and illusions. We can't take everything we see at face value. So you're saying some sleight of hand was somehow involved? Yes. The defense contends that the sword the defendant used was not the cause of death. Now, what was it Trilogy told me she did just before she thrust the sword into the coffin? Very well. Let's see your evidence then, Mr. Justice. But remember, you interrupted my verdict to make this claim. You will be severely penalized if I find you are bluffing. That's fine, Your Honor. That's 3? Yikes. This shows that it's possible that the sword Miss Wright used was not the cause of death. Is it the sword stand? Because that would be my thought. Because it says contains the rubber sword Trilogy says she swapped in for the trick. I want to save just in case, one way or the other. But I think this is correct. Backstage Malice. I like that these all have like little titles, even though you're probably not going to see them very often. Let's try it. What's this? A sword from the show? That's right, Your Honor. This rubber sword was in the sword stand under stage. During the trick, Miss Wright was supposed to swap the sword for a rubber sword. And she told us on record that she remembers very clearly that she did. I see. So the sword the defendant thrust into the coffin was a rubber sword, was it? But then why was a steel sword found lying on the stage? Somebody must have put the steel sword there by swapping it with the rubber one. Just after the incident occurred, the dragon set piece fell, and the theater was evacuated. The real culprit must have used the resulting chaos to swap the rubber sword for the steel one. Do you not know when to give up, stink bug? That is not possible.
Blood was found in the coffin hole that the sword was thrust into. It must have been left there when the accused withdrew the sword. That is incontrovertible proof that the sword she used was the real one.
But that blood could be the result of someone tampering with the crime scene after the fact. After the set piece fell and the audience was cleared out of the theater. There was plenty of time for somebody to plant that blood there.
If the sword the accused used was a rubber one,
then when exactly do you propose the victim was killed, given that Mr. Rios was alive when he entered that coffin? Finding the answer to that question is precisely why we need to continue this trial. Let me express my opinion. By all accounts, it is certainly reasonable to suspect the defendant based on the evidence. But as to the question of whether the sword the defendant used was rubber or steel, I believe further discussion is warranted. I suggest we hear from the defendant herself on this issue.
Now we're going to cross-examine Trucy.
very well, Your Honor.
Yes, I saved it. Somehow. Too close for comfort, but still.
Crime photo updated in the court record.
Let's adjourn for a brief 15-minute recess. I advise the prosecution and the defense to use this time to prepare.
April 28th, District Court. Defendants, lobby number 3.
Phew, that was hairy. Tell me about it. You barely made it through by the skin of my teeth.
I can't say I'm crazy about that prosecutor Sadmati either. You know, but the way he says let it go and move on as if it's nothing. Let it go and move on, huh?
Whoa, boy! Am I interrupting a secret conclave of villains or something? Got your next evil scheme in the works already? What do you want? Hehe, keep making that face, champ. And everybody's gonna change the channel. Look this way, Trucy. Now smile for the camera. Let's see those pearly whites. Isn't that what the Grammar Creed tells you to do? How does it feel, Trucy? Everybody online can't stop talking about you. They're calling you a real witch out there. Could this be the end of Troop Grammar? Go away, you creep! Oh, what's this? Something just charged into frame. It looks like a yellow gorilla or something. Could it be Trucy's pet? Filming is prohibited inside the courthouse. Do you want me to get the bailiff? Huh? Filming? What are you talking about? I don't even have a camera on me. Huh? What happened to the camera?
It just disappeared. Right before our very eyes.
Almost like this guy's a magician too. I'll be enjoying the rest of the Trucy show from the gallery. I put out a call for Trucy's fans to come and support her earlier, by the way. Bet I'll get some great footage out of them. This is gonna be good. Hang loose, baby!
He called in some of Trucy's fans? But for what purpose? Apollo, that thing Mr. Rettins just did, that was some high-level sleight of hand. Huh?
Why would he know how to do something like that?
I don't know, but he definitely has some serious magic skills.
No way.
But I thought he said magicians were all a bunch of good-for-nothings. Mr. Lawyer? Oh, hello, Bonnie. Can I help you with something? Well, there's something that's been bothering me.
Really? What is it?
Well, you see...
Hey, dummy! What are you whispering to the lobster boy about?
Betty.
Who the heck do you think you are? Are you crazy? You want a piece of this? You know you have to talk to me first before you do or say anything, you harebrain. Me? But I... Shut your mouth, you dumb bunny. Come with me, now!
I wonder what was bothering her. There's no way we're finding that out with Betty constantly hovering over her like that.
Court is about to reconvene.
Will you be alright testifying?
Yes, it's just... I wonder what Mr. Rettins has up his sleeve. I doubt he's bringing in actual fans. Yeah, probably not. I wonder what he has up his sleeve, too. He'd better not try anything to get under Trucy's skin right now, of all times.
You're Trucy, right? And you'll be fine!
Oh, there goes Apollo with his best trick.
That's right. Whenever I'm feeling down, I always tell myself I'm fine.
Alright, I'll give it a try. I'm Trucy, right? And I'm fine. Thanks, Polly. I think I can do this now.
That a girl. Good luck up there on the stand. You'll do great.
Thanks, I'll be fine. I can do this.
Alright, Justice, you can do this too. Time to focus on the rest of the trial.
April 28th, District Court, Courtroom number 6.
Huh. I noticed this doesn't have like natural breakpoints like the original game, or the first all the games did. I'm going to take a really quick break, and I will be right back. And then we'll finish this up. I'm hoping this trial at least will end up before the end of the stream. Okay, be right back. All right, I am back. Let's get into it. Court is now back in session. Defendant, please step up to the witness stand.
Trucy Wright, magician.
Here comes the liar, the deceitful witch. Throw the murderer in jail. The last member of that criminal troupe. Boo! We don't want to see you on stage anymore. Oh, this is all like hired PR, anti-PR, huh? Order! The gallery will be quiet, or I'll have you all thrown out on the spot.
What's with all the hecklers? I bet they're the fans Mr. Rettins invited. What a grade A jerk. Well, he's not gonna psych us out.
Now then, Mr. Wright, this court would like to know if you switched from the steel sword to a rubber one on stage. Miss Wright. Sorry, I'm so used to the judge saying Mr. Wright. For obvious reasons. So please testify about this issue. She's just gonna try and trick us again with her magic. Hurry up and convict her already. Here with the death penalty. Nya-ha-ha-ha. What? Nya-ha-ha-ha. That's, well, weird. Silence, all of you! I won't tell you again! Miss Wright, do you feel able to testify?
Yes, I'm fine, Your Honor. Trucy, I knew I should let her go through with this. I'd like to make a small request. How about instead of testifying with words, I show you exactly what happened. Would that be all right, Your Honor? You can witness my stupendous sword-switching magic and judge for yourselves. Huh? In spite of everything, she's still smiling. Our Trucy's amazing, isn't she?
She sure is. She's doing just fine up there.
True entertainer always keeps a smile on their face. She's faithfully following the Troop Grammar Creed even now. She really is something else. It's showtime for magical girl Trucy Wright. Watch carefully now, everybody. So her testimony is just magic. I like it. The stupendous sword switch. Ladies and gentlemen, please focus your attention on this sword. Allow me to demonstrate just how sharp this blade truly is. See that? No tricks or gimmicks. A very sharp sword indeed. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, watch as I take this sword and... Presto Sordo. There, I've switched it. Now... Oh! As you can see, the blade is not steel, but rubber. Okay, that's a very interesting testimony.
But... Bravo, Miss Wright! Wow, she switched them in a flash. I couldn't see her do it at all. She's completely turned the room around.
The hecklers are being drowned out by all the cheering.
Where did the steel sword vanish off to, Miss Wright? In order to deepen our understanding of the case, please tell us if you would. I'm not asking out of mere curiosity, just so you know.
I usually hide the steel sword backstage when I switch them during the show.
So when you thrust the rubber sword into the coffin, the steel sword wasn't even on stage, but behind the curtain?
Exactly. So you see, there is a trick and a gimmick to it after all. As for where the steel sword went when I performed the trick just now, it's a secret. Wouldn't want to spoil the magic for you now, would I?
Ho ho ho!
That's our Trucy. Yeah, still. Miss Wright, that part where you spun around, that's an actual part of the sword-switching trick you do for the show, right? Right. The other parts, like the apple, were just to help with my explanation here in court. That's funny. I think I found an inconsistency in her testimony. And it looks like I'm not the only one. I don't know what it's doing there, but now that I've found it, I have to get to the bottom of it.
Now then, Mr. Justice, you may go ahead and question the witness. But try not to ask dumb questions and spoil this wondrous magic.
I thought this was supposed to be my cross-examination. Alright, we can look at the cross-examination. The stupendous sword switch. So, on this sword. Okay? Oh, we can actually press. Please be careful, Miss Wright. Don't worry, I've practiced this trick 1,000 times. That's right, Apollo. You have to give Trucy some credit. She knows what she's doing. I know, but it still makes me nervous every time. But that's what magic is all about. A truly great magician can make her audience experience all kinds of thrills and chills. I guess you're right. I'd better try not to interrupt her too much while she's doing the trick. I don't want to distract her or break her concentration. And now, ladies and gentlemen, back to the exciting world of magic. Alright. Allow me to demonstrate just how sharp this blade truly is. Yeah.
Miss Wright, please don't swing that big dangerous thing around. Somebody could get hurt.
Apollo, please don't shout when I'm swinging said blade around. Somebody could get hurt.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
I couldn't help myself. You should know better than to talk to me when I'm on stage.
Mr. Justice, I'll see you in my chambers after court is adjourned.
Uh-oh. I don't suppose somebody could make me disappear before that happens. Let's just watch quietly, shall we, Apollo?
And now, back to the show.
All right, and we got, see that? No tricks or gimmicks, a very sharp sword indeed. So it's definitely a real sword, right? Now, Apollo. I know you're excited, but you have to control yourself.
Mr. Justice, if you needlessly interrupt this wonderful magic show again, I will be forced to bring my very real gavel down on your head.
Judge seems to be completely taken in by Trucy's magic. Yeah, it's like she's cast a magic spell over him. I'd better not interrupt her anymore. There's no telling what the judge might do to me.
Miss Wright, please ignore any further outbursts from Mr. Justice and proceed with your spectacular trick.
All right, here I go then. Ladies and gentlemen, watch as I take this sword and... Oops, I did it again. I've had it up to here, Apollo. Can't you listen quietly like a big boy?
Sorry about that. I got a little too worked up.
Apollo. Now, boys and girls, watch carefully and please don't kick the seat in front of you. I will now take this sword and... Here we go. Okay? Presto Sordo. There, I have switched it. Alright. So she... Hang on, let's go back. She spins, and then all of a sudden it's switched. So you switched swords when you spun around just now? That's right. It's the same way I do the trick in the actual magic show, too. But I'm also doing a lot of extra things that I don't do during the show right now, though. The key point is the sword switching. If only we could prove she did it during the actual show, too.
Right. Prove that she switched them during the show.
Huh. What's the matter, Apollo? You look troubled.
Oh, it's nothing.
Uh-oh, this is quite the pickle. How should I go about handling this?
Miss Wright, please continue with your trick.
So you've all just witnessed me switching the swords. Hang on a second. So I feel like that was a little bit of a blade is not steel but rubber. Right. This here, I think, is it. So let's see how she did it in the original recording. Let's see this again. All right, there's Trucy. She's holding the sword. And then, wait a minute. Yeah, she doesn't spin. So she stabs it. And then, what happens next? Oh, she puts the sword away. She didn't spin. And they called that out. I think we've seen enough. There's a problem here. I think this is it.
Objection!
Yeah.
Miss Wright, there's something I'd like to confirm with you.
Huh? What is it, Apollo? There seems to be a discrepancy between the way you performed the trick for us just now and the way it appears in the show footage.
What? That can't be.
I performed it exactly the same way both times. Then what's going on here? Miss Wright, I have the show footage right here, and the part where you twirl your cape around is missing from it. What? But I did it. So it really is the exact moment you switched the swords? Yes, that's right. Oh, I knew it. Oh. So does that mean she never switched the swords? Well, I certainly never expected the defense to expose the accused's lie for me.
Mr. Justice, does this mean that you are arguing that the defendant did not swap the swords during the actual magic show?
No, Your Honor, that wasn't my intention. I mean,
I did swap them, I know I did. I'm absolutely sure of it.
Human memory is unreliable at best, but in this case, I am afraid that it is the witness herself who cannot be trusted. We can see the footage for ourselves. The claims of this witness are false.
But...
Now that it has been proven that the accused did not swap swords, it means that the use of the steel sword to pierce the coffin was wholly intentional. And by the way, was it not you, Mr. Justice, who argued that Mr. Rios' death was not an accident but murder? I assume you have no objections to that still? It was, after all, your own assertion.
the defense,
The defense has an objection to you, Mr. Apollo Justice. I demand you withdraw the discrepancy you pointed out now.
but there is a discrepancy, and it must mean something, I'm sure of it. Would the defense team kindly save their spat until after the court is adjourned? Now, after all this debate, it seems we've come back around to the original argument. The defendant knew about the prank plan that would place the victim inside the coffin. What's more, the defendant did not perform the sword-switching trick on stage.
Though her actions, I'm afraid I have come to see the true intentions of the accused. Her murderous intentions.
It's such a shame.
But I did switch the swords, I swear.
You're knee-deep in it now, Justice.
Oh. Excuse me.
Let's see, you are... which one again? Benny? No, that's not right. Body?
It's Bonnie. You were mixing the two names together, Your Honor.
Oh, pardon me. And do you have something you wish to say, Bonnie?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to testify. About what? The more I think about it, the less possible it seems. I don't believe Trucy killed Mr. Rios. Bonnie.
Hey, what's the big idea?
Such an incredibly gifted and talented magician would never commit murder. I refuse to believe it.
What are you talking about, you harebrained hare? You keep your trap shut.
I got a bag of baby carrots for you, so chew on those and pipe down. No, I won't be quiet.
What's the matter with you? Didn't you hear me?
Trucy said something to me once.
Huh?
She said, no matter how scared you get, no matter how mean people are to you, you can't give up and give in. That's what being a professional magician is all about. Isn't that right, Trucy? That's right, Bonnie. I've always been afraid to stand up to Betty, afraid to defy her. So I did what she said. But when I saw Trucy today, she gave me strength.
Yeah, that's when the gallery was all against her and stuff. I'd like to make a small request. How about instead of testifying with words,
I show you exactly what happened. Would that be all right, Your Honor? You can witness my stupendous sword-switching magic and judge for yourselves.
yeah.
Seeing her courage, the way she kept smiling despite everything, she's just incredible. So I'm not gonna run away. I'm scared, but for once, I'm gonna be brave.
What have you done to my sister, Trucy, right? You've practically brainwashed her.
It's the power of Trucy's conviction. That's what it is. It's touched Bonnie's heart.
Yeah, Trucy really is one magical girl. Bonnie, is the topic of your testimony related to that thing that was bothering you? The thing you tried to tell us about in the lobby during the recess?
Yes, ever since I saw the show footage, something's been nagging at me. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but something's off.
feel like something about it is different from what I saw on the stage.
What do you mean by that, Bonnie?
I wonder if what was shown on TV is really the same as what happened on stage. Of course it is. The show has only been performed once, after all. It can't show anything other than what happened on that stage yesterday.
Objection!
But Bonnie's testimony deserves our attention. We have to examine the show footage.
But what can we check it against? Do you have some other footage of the show?
Well, I have some show footage.
You do?
One of the TV station's cameramen said he was a fan of mine. He kept his camera on me throughout the entire show. And then afterwards, he gave me the footage he shot as a present.
He did?
I remember that guy. To tell the truth, I thought it was kind of creepy, so I was going to get rid of it.
Please submit that footage to the court. Now then, let's take a look at this new footage.
Alright. Okay. So she knocked the camera over.
Wow, okay then. He really did keep his camera on Bonnie the whole time, didn't he?
I think this cameraman needs to keep his personal feelings out of his work. Well, defense, do you still believe this new show footage is worth inspecting?
Of course I do.
Okay. So, how are we going to go about this?
Let's try comparing the two. We just might find an inconsistency between them.
An inconsistency, huh?
Yes, the two pieces of footage are of the same scene, so they should match up.
But Bonnie felt there was something off about the original footage. So if we can pick out what's different between the two, we'll know what Bonnie found strange.
Exactly.
Plus, we may figure out why the original doesn't show the sword-switching trick.
Your Honor, the defense would like to compare these two pieces of show footage. Very well. I will allow it.
What a waste of time. Apollo, do you know how to compare the two pieces of footage?
No, I've never done it before.
I'll give you a little lesson then. Use the video player's buttons to go through the footage. When you want to speed through, use the fast forward button. And if you want to go back, use the rewind button. If you want to halt the playback, just use the pause button. Oh, and by the way, if you fast forward or rewind when the playback is paused, you can do a slow frame-by-frame playback.
Okay,
and so how do I switch between the two videos? Just use the switch camera button. Now if you find a difference between the two pieces of footage, put the cursor over what's different and present it to the court.
Thanks, Athena. You really know your stuff.
Not really. I just gave it some gusto and went with my gut on most of it.
What?
I sure hope she guessed right. Anyway, let's give it a try. Alright, so this is switch footage. Alright. That's her. Alright, hang on a second. Can I go back? Because look, you can see the shadow. You can't see it from this angle, can you? Yeah, you can't. Okay. But I wondered, because you can tell Mr. Hat got
shot upward. And then Trucy's there. Okay. And then she's got the sword, right? And, oh, let's see. So yeah, that falls apart. And then she realizes something's messed up, right? And then that falls. Yeah. Alright, that is where she's doing the kiss to Mr. Hat. And let's see. Alright, then Mr. Hat's doing his thing there, right? And boom. Then that's when the disappearing thing happens. And then she turns and sees Trucy. Right. What? Wait a minute. Hang on, go back for a second. There was... Hang on. Like, some cards come flying at her. And let's go back. When does Trucy actually show up? Let's go. Okay, there it is. Trucy's there. Yeah. And then she just flourishes the sword and then stabs it. So, let's go back to the Bonnie footage. And some cards fly at her. That's a discrepancy. Yeah, where are these cards coming from? Let's present these cards. This is it, right here. Take a good look at this scene and compare it to the video shot from the front. Oh, the playing cards don't appear in the video shot from the front. Hey, you're right. What's going on here? Miss Wright, can you tell us about these playing cards? Oh, these? They're the cards I throw when I do the sword switching trick. What? Mr. Justice, does this mean? The video was edited. Yes, it means that the sword switching trick was cut from the TV show footage. So the footage was edited? Yes, with malicious intent. That is absurd. Well, we must get to the bottom of this right now. Bailiff, the TV station might still have the unedited footage. Go see what you can find out. Yes, Your Honor. What? Is this Retton's? It is. It's you. Now hold up, Your Honor. This is all just a big misunderstanding. Believe you me. Give a guy a chance to defend himself before you start pointing fingers. And who might you be? Right. Sorry about that. Got ahead of myself there. Here's my business card. Charmed to make your acquaintance, Your Honor. Oh, well, how very polite of you. It's lovely to meet you too, Prosecutor Sadmati. Please take my card. A business card? Ah, yes. I read about this custom among businessmen in this country. I have even familiarized myself with the various replies. How do you do, good sir? Or what's crack-a-lacking, homie? For example. Oh, you're from Take-Two TV, are you, witness? That was amazing, by the way. Come to think of it, I believe I've seen you on television before. Yes, Roger Rittens, otherwise known as the Ratings Raja. He is a TV producer and appears on many of his own shows as of late.
He is best known for his catchphrase, "Hang loose, baby."
Oh my! So you're the ratings Raja.
Hang loose, judgy baby. Nice courtroom you got here.
I never thought I'd get to meet you in person. But Prosecutor Satmati, how do you know so much about him?
In preparation for the case, I watched all of his shows. I found the Ratings Raja Goes to Burger Barn of particular interest. It inspired me to visit that restaurant straight away to learn more about the local cuisine.
What? You went to Burger Barn?
Who would have thought? That sounds amazing.
You must have really wanted to try it, huh, buddy?
Because that line, whew. Compared to my aesthetic training, an hour's wait is nothing. I recommend the Southwestern burger with jalapeno jack cheese, by the way. I'm having a really hard time picturing him in line for burgers.
Ahem. Prosecutor Satmati's unexpected enthusiasm for food aside. Mr. Rettens, what is this misunderstanding you mentioned?
Well, for starters, it's true that the footage was edited. You'll get your hands on this anyway, so I might as well give you the unedited footage. It's a pretty long video, so I'll just show you the part with the playing cards. You can see the cards when Trucy spins around, so keep your eyes peeled. Alright, we're gonna get to see it again. And there it is, yep. Did you see the part that was cut where Trucy switched the swords? She spins around and the playing cards go flying. Everything's like it's supposed to be.
Then it seems the defendant really did swap swords during the trick.
Which means the sword Miss Wright thrust into the coffin was the rubber one. In other words, Miss Wright couldn't have killed Mr. Rios. Yeah, see, that's the first misunderstanding right there. What do you mean? Well, Trucy definitely did swap swords, as you saw. So yeah, maybe she didn't kill Mr. Rios when she stabbed the coffin, but that just means he was killed after he showed up pretending to be a corpse. So you're saying that up until that point, everything was going according to the script? If that's true, then when and how exactly do you think he was killed? It was after the dragon set piece came crashing down. I say Trucy murdered Mr. Rios when she was hidden from view behind the set piece. She could have easily done it behind that huge dragon and nobody'd be the wiser. I see. Indeed, there is a ring of truth to your assertion. You bet. Plus, there's a suspicious-looking shadow in the footage, too. It's toward the end of the footage, just before the dragon hits the stage. It might be easier to just see it for yourselves. What's he showing? The suspicious shadow, huh? Oh. It's only for a split second, so it's hard to catch, but look here. That's Mr. Hat. This suspicious shadow must be Trucy. She's using the steel sword she hid behind the curtain during the trick to kill the victim. Don't think so.
Now that you mention it, I suppose it does look that way.
This witness is just trying to ram his theory down our throats, Your Honor. And that's not all. Aren't we forgetting that the witness willfully edited the sword switch out of the footage? You see, there's your second misunderstanding right there. Your Honor, would you mind if I testified about it? I've seen people testify on TV, and I've always wanted to give it a shot.
That would be fine with me, Prosecutor Satmati.
This is quite unexpected. It threatens to disrupt the comic course of this case. Hey, lighten up, pretty boy. You're gonna like what I've got to say, promise. Very well. However, if you do anything to impede the last rites of the victim, I will have you removed.
All right, with Prosecutor Sadmani's permission, please give us your testimony, Mr. Rettens.
Roger Rettens, the ratings Roger. Now, Kaiser of the courtroom. Hey, I'm taking over the floor, so listen up, loyal viewers. It wasn't deliberate, I tell you. Okay? Footage is meant to be edited, I tell you. Scenes are spliced together, and long or boring scenes are cut out. All the stations edit footage this way. It wasn't like it was done maliciously or something. Oh, that seems weird. It was just a coincidence that particular scene was cut. It wasn't intentional. Oh, what? You got some proof that I had an ulterior motive for editing that footage?
I see. So you're saying it was a coincidence that the sword-swapping scene was cut?
That's right. Glad you got the picture. Coincidence? That's just a little too convenient, if you ask me.
Oh, an objection! How cool! It sure packs a lot more punch when you hear it live.
Do that again. I want to get another shot from a different angle. My objection is not for your entertainment. Of course, he did it again anyway. And cut. There. I got some good stuff there.
Mr. Rettens, filming is prohibited inside the courthouse.
Oops, my bad, Judge.
And if the defense has an issue, it can point it out during its cross-examination.
All right, cross-examination. It wasn't deliberate. Meant to be edited. Okay. Really? I've never heard anybody say that. It's common knowledge in the TV world.
You got any idea what a snooze cruise it'd be to watch a magic show without editing?
A magic show like that one, anyway. That was ice cold.
Anyway, editing is what makes TV worth watching.
Scenes are spliced together and longer boring scenes are cut out. Are you saying you thought there were boring scenes in Miss Wright's magic show?
You gotta ask. That script and presentation deserve a place on the cutting room floor. Broadcasting that mess as is would have been a complete disaster. That's why I had to edit the footage. It's just what a TV man does.
What didn't you like about the show exactly?
The whole thing. It was a major snooze fest. Maybe common folk like you don't get it. And a show's only as good as how loud, flashy, and trashy it is.
It was plenty loud and flashy on its own. All you did was add the trash. I suppose each industry has its own way of doing things. Just as we in the legal profession focus exclusively on evidence and testimony.
Exactly! Whether it's showbiz or the legal biz, we do what we gotta do to get the job done.
Anyway, editing footage is just a matter of course in the TV industry. All the stations edit footage. It wasn't like it was done maliciously. That's a suspicious statement. It wasn't done maliciously, huh? But I get the distinct impression that you bear feelings of ill will toward Troop Grammari.
Huh? What makes you think that?
The things that you yourself have said.
You'll see.
I'll dig up the dirt and expose the dark heart behind that sweet smile. I'll prove those Grammari magicians are all a bunch of lowlifes. Right. And I also get the impression that you felt this way for a long time. Words such as these can be interpreted in many different ways. For example, though I bear the defense no ill will, I would not hesitate to say that he is a good-for-nothing lout of a lawyer.
You bear me no ill will? Could have fooled me.
And yet, it is the truth. I am only strict on you, as it seems you have strayed from the path.
If you have any objections, Mr. Justice, please make your case with evidence in the future. Mr. Rettens, please continue your testimony.
Alright. It was just a coincidence that particular scene was cut. It wasn't intentional. Right? Of all the scenes you could have cut, why the sword switching trick? That seems like too much of a coincidence to me.
Oh, so now you're gonna tell me how I'm supposed to edit my programs, big shot? It's hard being the boss, kid. You gotta make the tough choices, like which content gets cut.
Then let me ask you this. Why exactly did you make such a tough choice in this case?
You wouldn't understand, champ. It's all about artistic vision. I tell you, people tell you how to do your job when they don't know the first thing about it.
I may not know TV, but I know evidence law, and boy, do I have some for you, champ. I might not be able to show that your selective editing was intentional. However, I know you bear the defendant ill will, and this is the evidence that proves it.
Oh.
It's, the clipboard. Yeah, he was instrumental in the ratings Raja's dishonest dealings.
Huh? Well, what's that you got there?
This is the contract you had Miss Wright sign just before the magic show. This contract between the first party, Take-Two TV, and the second party, Miss Wright, reads, if, through the fault of the second party, the show must be cancelled in part or in full, the second party will pay $3 million as compensation to the first party.
That $3 million? That's a completely unreasonable sum.
I couldn't agree more, and of course Miss Wright doesn't have that kind of money. Nevertheless, Roger Rettens had her sign this unreasonable contract anyway. Or more accurately, he conned her into signing it.
Conned her? How did he do that?
There's a trick to the clipboard that was used by Miss Wright to sign her contract. It houses carbon paper that can secretly copy her signature onto other documents.
Oh, come on now. That's quite a nasty accusation you're slinging my way. For starters, you don't have any proof I had anything to do with that carbon paper stuff. Just because Trucy and her agency can't pay up, that doesn't mean I conned her. But $3 million, that's totally out of reach for the average person. In any case, this is important new information. Please, edit your testimony, Mr. Rettens. Where's your proof linking me to that tricked out clipboard? You don't have any, do you?
Well, we have the contract signed by Trucy, and then we have the note. That seems pretty suspicious, but let's press for now. This clipboard is yours, though, isn't it, Mr. Rettens?
Well, it belongs to the TV station anyway. That much I know. Maybe it was an old prop from one of our TV shows that got used by mistake.
Or maybe you used it on purpose to con Miss Wright. Mr. Rettens has already stated that he did not. Mr. Justice, please do not use this trial to try to get out of paying your agency's debt.
That's not what I'm doing.
Proof Mr. Rettens is connected to the carbon paper, huh? If Trucy's signature was copied onto the fake contract, then there must be an original contract that Trucy actually did sign. True, but I bet Rettens is too savvy to leave something like that behind as evidence. But what if her signature was copied under more than just the fake contract? Like a third document with Trucy's signature on it? Have we seen anything like that, though?
Ah. Hey, what are you guys whispering about? Let me continue my testimony.
That was a very obvious thing about what we present. I had an ulterior motive. There we go. We have this. Yeah, Trucy's note. Easy. Trucy's note is the objection. You must be quite the con man if you can fool a magician with a simple trick. But if you think you can con a lawyer, you're very much mistaken.
Hey, kid, would it kill you to enunciate in front of the camera? You know, like a newscaster?
I'd like you to take a look at Miss Wright's signature here on this note. Now let's compare that signature to the one here on this contract. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Well, would you look at that? They're exactly the same.
That's right, Your Honor. Not just similar, but exactly the same.
Nobody can sign their name in exactly the same way twice, unless it's a copy. These signatures are proof positive that you conned Miss Wright, and they definitely prove your malicious intent.
Say, not bad, lawyer guy. Didn't know you had it in you. This is really getting interesting now.
That'll get great ratings for sure. Don't try to dodge the issue, Mr. Rettens. The fact is that you bear ill will against my client. So the show footage was definitely edited with malicious intent, isn't that right? What a forced argument, defense. All you have really proven is not his ill will toward Mr. Wright, but his pecuniary greed.
That's right. I just wanted money, baby. Fat stacks of cheddar, that's all.
After all, I'd never even crossed paths with Trilogy before this magic show. So I'd have absolutely no reason to bear her any ill will, right? You didn't bear her any ill will, huh? Fat chance. This guy definitely has some major hate for Trilogy. You'll see, I'll dig up the dirt and expose the dark heart behind that sweet smile. I'll prove those Grammar magicians are all a bunch of lowlifes. Right. I can't prove it with anything, but the things he said all point to that fact. There must be something between the two of them that gave birth to this grudge. Some sort of connection not even Trilogy is aware of. Your Honor, I'd like to argue that Roger Rettens and Trilogy Wright must have crossed paths before. There must be some hidden connection between them. Hidden? Connection? What is it now?
Just what are you getting at, Mr. Justice?
It is futile to even ask, Your Honor. Surely it is just another one of the defense's feckless claims. You don't seem to have a very high opinion of me, but once you hear my argument, you'll wish you'd taken me a whole lot more seriously. Will I really? Very well then, do proceed. Did you figure something out, Apollo?
Nope, not a thing.
What?
That was just some good old-fashioned bluffing.
Courtesy of Mr. Wright's fine training. I hope you know what you're doing.
That's perfect, because it is a very Phoenix-like thing to do. If you're going to make such a bold claim, Mr. Justice, I hope you're ready to elaborate. What is this hidden connection between the defendant and Roger Rettens?
He's a they're dating. What the heck? He's Trilogy's biggest fan. Rettens is a magician too. Yeah, obviously. That sleight of hand trick Mr. Rettens did during the recess earlier. Yeah, we saw it. He had the camera out, and then he magically, immediately put it back. Yeah. He didn't even have a camera, right. All of a sudden, he didn't have his camera. What if Mr. Rettens is a magician, too?
What if? I believe it's up to the defense to fill in the blanks, not me.
Well, if he is, he may have had some contact with Miss Wright somewhere along the way. Your argument is hardly worth responding to. But by all means, please do continue. As a passage in the sacred scriptures of Quranism states, he who gives a sermon to a monkey is himself a monkey.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you say to a dimwit, he isn't going to get it anyway.
But we saw Mr. Rettens perform a magic trick. He made his video camera disappear in the blink of an eye.
Well, I think it would be pretty funny if I were a magician. You must have been seeing things. Want me to introduce you to a good eye doctor?
If a connection as tenuous as that is all it takes, then every magician in the country could potentially bear ill will toward the accused.
I guess you're right. You're not the sharpest knife in the drawer, are you, short stuff?
You would do well to cleanse that putrid mind of yours in the holy waters of Mount Poniponi. 3 days under a frigid waterfall, and even you should rise to the level of a monkey.
Yeah, numbskull for a numbskull.
Well, this numbskull has thick skin, so there. I think I get what they're driving at. Even if he is a magician, it's not exactly a reason to bear a grudge against Trucy, is it? Yeah, what's his deal? Hold on. I can think of one person. One magician who has a reason to bear a grudge against Trucy. Or rather, one magician who has a reason to bear a grudge against Troop Grammari. Oh? What? Rias? No way. Wait.
Is something wrong, Mr. Justice?
Your Honor, the defense wishes to submit evidence at this time.
I see, and what sort of evidence do you have for us?
Evidence that points to the real killer. The one who had a motive to commit this crime.
What?
And what have you come up with this time, defense?
Trucy Wright is the sole heir to Troop Grammari and its name.
This puts her square on the crosshairs of one particular magician, Mr. Rias. And this piece of evidence points to that one person. The 13-year-old poster, right? Yeah.
And who exactly are you naming, Mr. Justice?
13 years ago, the great Mr. Rias belonged to Troop Grammari. But then the troop ousted him, and Mr. Rias vowed to get revenge on them someday. And what better way to accomplish that than through the ruination of their sole heir?
But Mr. Rias is the victim, Mr. Justice. You've named a dead man as your suspect.
But is he really dead?
What do you mean, is he really dead?
If the fact that Mr. Rias is the victim is what's throwing you off, then how about we consider this possibility? What if the man who died on that stage yesterday wasn't Mr. Rias? You mean he's Mr. Rias? Rettins is Mr. Rias? What? You mean the victim was an imposter?
Not Mr. Rias? Then what about the real Mr. Rias?
It would mean the real Mr. Rias is still alive. That's absurd.
Mr. Justice, who is the real Mr. Rias if not the victim of this case?
It's all coming together now. I finally see the gimmick, the trick to this entire case. This should explain everything, Your Honor. The real killer, the one who hated Troop Grammari and wanted to sully its name. The magician lurking in the shadows who set up a fake Mr. Rias in his stead. The real Mr. Rias is Roger Rettins. Yeah, that's logically where we're going.
But that's...
Yes. Yes, it is. Roger Rettins is the real Mr. Rias.
What?
Him? Yep, you're right. Oh, hollow red pepper, your impotent seeds sprout naught but meaningless, empty words. You can't possibly have proof to support such an outlandish theory.
It's not a bad idea for a soap opera, but not even die-hard fans of the genre would stick around past the pilot.
You want proof? Well, I've got proof. I can prove it by proving that the Mr. Rias in yesterday's magic show was a fake. Oh, it's obvious. The scar on the hand, it's not there. Yeah. And to do that, I just need you to look at this spot on this poster. Yeah, the scar's not there. This is the injury Mr. Rias sustained while practicing a magic trick 13 years ago. However,
The video the victim shot of himself shows no trace of that injury.
Oh my, you're absolutely right!
Now, Mr. Rittens, what do you suppose we'd find if we took a look at your right forearm? Is there by chance a nasty 13-year-old scar under that sleeve of yours? Well, Mr. Rittens, why don't you roll up your sleeve and let the court have a look? Or are you hiding something else up there?
Come on now, I have nothing up my sleeve.
I don't need to hide anything on there because I require no tricks or gimmicks. For you see, my magic is the real deal. Oh, there it is. Is this what you were hoping to see?
Oh, there it is! The scar!
Just as I thought. That's right. I am the forgotten magician, abandoned to the dark understage of history. The great Mysterious.
This
It's totally absurd. Oh, how ironic, wouldn't you say? That this odious mark, carved into me by Troop Grammari, would bring me back into the limelight once more. Strange are the karmic threads before me. If the witness is the real Mysterious, then who is the victim who perished in the magic show?
he was but a fan. I met him on one of my programs several years ago.
He said he had become a magician out of admiration for the great Mysterious. In confidence, I told him my true identity and let him take on my mantle.
And when did this man take over for you?
About 2 years ago, I taught him my tricks and even acted as his producer. And so a mere amateur became a popular magician overnight. Courtesy of my magic. On the stage we call television. Hope you enjoyed the show.
You really had us all fooled.
Mr. Rettens, or should I say Mr. Rias, in your hatred of Troop Grammari, you killed the victim, Mr. Mystery, and then set up Miss Right to take the fall, didn't you? You did it all just to tarnish the Grammari name.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about, lad.
I set up the prank, that much is true.
But it was simply a harmless joke on Trucy, I assure you.
Yet she learned of the plan and made use of it to commit murder. That is how strongly the criminal element runs in the blood of these Grammaris. What if it was a secret prank plan that very few people knew about? Couldn't you have been the one to use it for murder instead?
God! Yikes! Eek!
His head! Just kidding. What the heck was that? Heed my words, lawyer lad, for I fear your grasp on reality is slipping. I love that. That his cardigan has turned into a cape and he's doing goofy magic tricks. I do believe I told you that my magic is real. It employs neither tricks nor gimmicks. Enough with the ambiguity. Why don't you make your point already? My alibi is as pristine as ever. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Sad Mari? Yes, I suppose that is correct. The witness does have a solid alibi. What? Recall, defense, that at the time of the magic show, Mr. Rittens was at Take-Two TV, a fact that many people can easily attest to. Gah, that's right, I forgot all about that. Ho ho ho! So what do you think, Your Honor? Would you like me to testify on the matter?
Yes, I think you'd better. Please tell the court more about your alibi.
Very well then, on with the show. Are you watching, Magnifi Grammari? Time has finally come for my magic to snuff out your precious pedigree. The Grammari line will be no more. Alright, perfect alibi. I was at the TV station at the time with the Penrose performance. I was busy working on another TV program. I could spare no time for the magic show. Do ask my staff if you doubt my claim. And there it is. A simple and perfect alibi. No tricks, no gimmicks, just the truth. Yikes, okay. Do you understand now, perhaps? I did not grace the theater with my presence until after the incident. So how could I have committed the murder? His staff did say he was there at the station, so it sure does sound like a rock-solid alibi. But that can't be right. If Mr. Rettens is the killer, he'd had to have been at the theater. There's got to be a hole somewhere in his story. I assure you there are no holes on Mr. Rias's stage. No tricks, no gimmicks. True magic doesn't need trapdoors to escape through. Do enjoy my show to the fullest, and my real alibi. Alright. Cross-examination time. Let's press. Okay. But you did come to the theater eventually, isn't that right? Indeed. Anxious to see how the show was progressing, I made my way to the theater. Let's see, my journey took about 10 minutes by car. Could he actually have been at the theater during those 10 minutes, killing the victim? Ho, allow me a stab at reading your mind. Aha, could I have been at the theater during those 10 minutes, killing the victim? How in the... But no, I took a taxi. The driver can attest to that. Feel free to call the taxi company if my word does not satisfy you. The driver is a big fan of the ratings, Roger. I even gave him my card. He gave the driver his card? That was very clever of him. You might as well give it up, lad. Questioning real magic is a fool's errand. Besides, you know very well what I was doing at the time of the incident. And that is busy working on another TV program. Right. What was this other TV show you were working on? My own special project, you see. One moment. Perhaps this is more appropriate. It's a Ratings Raja special production, yeah? Hang loose, baby! It's called Desperation Regeneration. You switched personas just to say that? What's the show about? Washed-up has-been singers and comedians get together and play musical chairs. The winner of the game is given a second chance at their career. A priceless prize for chumps who washed up too early in life. Sounds great, right? Might I suggest you appear on that show, Mr. Justice? As the ex-lawyer who used to make ridiculous bluffs in court and faded sadly into obscurity. And let the Ratings Raja produce my TV debut? Not in this lifetime. You have great reactions. Who knows? TV might be your true calling. Hey, whose side are you on? In any case, I was overseeing production of this program during the Penrose performance. Do ask my staff if you doubt my claim. How do we know those staff members aren't in cahoots with you? I made it my business to perform solo. My magic has neither need nor want of assistance. After all, one of them could reveal the secrets behind my magic, could they not? So he doesn't trust anybody, huh? He's the complete opposite of Trucy. There were many people there in the studio audience who saw the witness as well. Even if he had been able to persuade his own staff to cover for him, he could not have convinced so many complete strangers to do the same. He really has made a rock-solid alibi for himself. Yeah, it's almost too good, you know? It's eerie how perfect it is. Has all been revealed to you now? Alright, we've got the last statement. No tricks, no gimmicks, just the truth. This is rough. I've got it. Do you have a brother? A brother that looks exactly like you, maybe? Again with the twins business. You think the audience will let you get away with using the same gimmick twice in a row? If you do not believe him, Defense, why not investigate for yourself? Though I am sure your efforts will prove to be thoroughly fruitless. Yeah, I guess the twins theory is a little far-fetched. Oh, so this is going to be one of those... Yeah, his alibi really is airtight. I believe we've heard enough. While I believe the witness does indeed harbor some ill will against the defendant, there is no reason to doubt that he was at the TV station at the time of the incident.
Yes, the facts prove it was impossible for the witness to have been involved with this crime. No. These last rites of the victim have dragged on long enough. The soul of the victim himself is so bored that it is resting on top of your Honor's head.
It is?
The time has come. Let us punish the sinner and guide the victim's soul to the Twilight Realm.
Apollo, Trucy will be thrown in prison, and we'll be out of a job.
But if you catch tasty fishies, will you sell me some at a good price?
I told you, I've absolutely zero intention of going off on a tuna boat.
Think, Justice, you have to figure this out.
It's no use. I can't find a single flaw. So what now? Oh, behold my never-ending magic show. Come for the awe-inspiring showmanship of the great Mr. Rias, and stay for my grand illusion until the end of time.
Wait, is he saying that we're still trapped inside some sort of illusion of his? And that's what professional magicians do. They make their audience see something that isn't really there. In other words, you make us see illusions, right?
We call it misdirection.
While we keep you busy believing one thing, we're busy making something else happen.
What we say is there really isn't, and what we say isn't there actually is.
Could it be?
You know what, Mr. Rettens? I guess we have all been spectators to the elaborate illusion you prepared for us. An illusion that has subtly turned our attention towards something you wanted us to see. What are you going on about, lad?
You got something, Apollo?
I just remembered something Trucy said about misdirection. What a magician says is there really isn't, and what they say isn't there actually is. If we've all been taken for a ride by Mr. Retton's magic, then maybe he's made us see something that wasn't really there. It's time to rethink all of my assumptions about this case. What have we been made to believe was there when it actually wasn't? What have we taken to be the absolute facts of this case? If I reevaluate the validity of all of these things, then just maybe... Athena, there's something uncanny about this case.
Okay, what is it?
Retton's alibi. It's too perfect.
That's true. It's like it's impossible to break no matter how hard we try.
But maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's exactly what he wants us to think. I'm not following. We're not making any headway here because we've been so focused on breaking his alibi.
Oh, I think I get it.
You're saying he's using misdirection on us, right? It's definitely a possibility. Would the defense care to share with everyone what it's discussing over there? Your Honor, we believe that if we were to reconsider a certain assumption, we may finally arrive at the truth. In fact, I think we'll even finally see who's hiding behind the curtain, so to speak. And what is this certain assumption you're thinking of? This is the one key assumption we've been taking for granted this whole time. The crime scene. Yeah, I think that's it. The actual scene of the crime wasn't the theater, but the TV station. But Mr. Rettens brought the victim's body to the theater after the fact.
Foolish lawyer. Were that true, then what about the body you witnessed during the show?
Don't you know it's rude to ask how a trick is done, Prosecutor Sadmati? Oh, that was wrong. And don't you know it's rude to make far-fetched claims, Mr. Justice? I'll brush up on courtroom manners 101 again, just for you, Your Honor. Alright, so the murder could have really only taken place at the theater, which means... the culprit was on scene.
What if the culprit was somewhere other than the theater at the time of the crime? What if there was some way to commit the murder without actually being there? If that were the case, then Mr. Retton's perfect alibi would become irrelevant. Okay. I guess I was almost going for the Rise from the Ashes, where it's like, oh, the murder happened in one place and the body was taken another place. How could one person stab another to death with a sword without physically being there? Furthermore, we all saw what appears to be the culprit's shadow in the footage. But couldn't we just as easily assume that the shadow does not belong to the culprit?
Well, if it's not the culprits, then whose is it?
I'm not 100% sure yet. It's Mr. Hat. But I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. Did he put a sword in Mr. Hat? Yeah, no, Mr. Hat had a sword. Yeah. We've all seen something that looks like this shadowy shape before, Your Honor, during the magic show itself. Yeah, I know.
In that case, please point it out in the show footage for us.
This is the thing that looks suspiciously similar to the shadowy figure of the culprit. Alright. Let's go back. Yeah, I saw it. There. I pointed it out before. And there it is. Doesn't this shadow resemble the suspicious shadowy figure?
Now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it?
Miss Wright, could you identify this shadow for the court? Let's see. I believe that's Mr. Hat's shadow. It's from when he's being pulled up from the stage to the catwalk overhead by wire. Then could this shadow that's shown later in the footage be Mr. Hat too? No, that's not possible. After Mr. Hat was pulled up to the catwalk, he stayed up there. In other words, the second shadow was from some other figure being pulled up.
Some other figure? I'm afraid you'll need to be more specific than that, Mr. Justice.
He's right. We've come this far. I'll just have to figure out from the clues I have on hand.
What is the second shadow shown in the footage?
That's a good question. Because, like... Hang on. So what was the original plan? Mr. Rios was going to do a fire trick. But the bucket wasn't ready, so that was never going to happen. So we have to look at the prank, right? What was the deal with the prank? Mr. Rios will come back to life, laughing and flying up into the air, causing another round of surprise, which makes sense because he had the carabiner on him from his previous flying trick, right? So was it Rios or Manov, whatever his name is, going up? I think it was. So did he get pulled up? And was that part of his murder? I'm curious. If we consider what was happening on the stage at the time, there's only one answer. The shadow belonged to the fake Mr. Rios. In other words, Mr. Manov Mystery.
The victim?
Please take a look at the prank plan script. Mr. Mystery was to pretend to be dead, and then fly up into the air after that. Isn't that right, Mr. Rettons?
Indeed, and what of it?
I contend that that's exactly what happened. The victim was wearing a stunt harness around his waist. It was most likely attached to a stunt wire so that he could be pulled up into the air.
So you're suggesting that after pretending to be dead in the coffin, the victim flew up into the air, just as the prank script says?
Exactly. We just couldn't see him go flying up because the dragon was blocking our view. And that last trick, ladies and gentlemen, is the true pièce de résistance of the culprit's murderous magic show. Yeah. Don't tell me. You've got it all figured out. Yes, I think so. If we can just look beyond Mr. Retton's last bit of misdirection, we should finally be able to see the real truth. The victim must have been pulled up to the catwalk, just like Mr. Hat, and hit the cushioning up there with considerable force. I just have to figure out what else happened up there at that time.
Are you ready to elaborate, Mr. Justice?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready.
In that case, please answer me this. Why did the culprit make the victim fly up into the air like that?
To falsify an alibi, to hide the body, to murder him. Falsify an alibi doesn't make... hide the body, but we're kind of entering the territory of saying that he was murdered. Yeah, this was all misdirection, so hiding the body wouldn't make any sense. Falsifying an alibi, he already has an alibi. To murder him, though. What if he was still alive up until that point? Let's say it. Just why did the culprit have the victim fly up after he appeared in the coffin? And how did the victim actually die when he was only pretending to be dead in the coffin? If we can figure out how these two questions relate, the answer should become clear.
Could it be?
Mr. Mystery must have thought he was still just part of a prank when he appeared on stage. He probably didn't suspect a thing as he was being pulled up into the air after Miss Wright was called backstage, and just as the set piece fell. But the culprit had already planted the real murder weapon in the cushion in the catwalk. It was probably a knife or blade of some sort. What? You mean... Yes, it really was a magical murder. Just as the prank script said, Mr. Mystery was whisked up into the air. And straight into a blade there in the catwalk. Ouch! That would have been rough. In other words, this murder was committed remotely through the use of a magic trick.
What? Remotely?
Using this method, it wouldn't matter where Mr. Rettens was at the time of the death.
Yeah. But how exactly does it work, Mr. Justice?
Just before the murder occurred, the dragon set piece was up in the catwalk. It and Mr. Man of Mystery were connected to each other by a wire at the time. By carrying out the prank plan, Betty made the dragon set piece fall, which caused Mr. Mystery to rocket straight up and into the blade and the cushion. Yeah. The cushion was high up enough to be hidden from the audience's view. That's why nobody saw the blade.
Yeah.
Oh, then that big gash in Mr. Hat's cape. The blade must have been set up overhead sometime before the magic show. Mr. Hat must have been slashed by it too, when he was pulled up to the cushion. I can't believe it. I had no idea. I was told that Trucy would freak out if I made the set piece fall. That's the only reason I did it. You were used, Betty. Roger Rettens used you. I thought he was my little puppet to boss around, but it was the other way around. After the incident occurred, Mr. Rettens arrived at the theater. He got the murder weapon and swapped the rubber sword with the bloodied steel one. That's also when he lowered the victim's body down to the stage. But how did he have time to do all that? When the set piece fell, the audience was evacuated from the building. He was able to do all those things after the fact because there was no one around to see.
A horrific murder camouflaged by a spectacular magic show? That sounds like the kind of murder only a magician could pull off.
As long as the show proceeded as it was scripted, Mr. Mystery was doomed to die. That's why it was you, Mr. Rettens, who killed the victim, all the way from the TV station. This prank plan, or should I say murder plan, proves your murderous intent.
Yeah. Grammar-I!
Uh-oh. Enough. You dim-witted, ignorant, imbecilic, putrid red pepper. He can't possibly have a counter-argument to make. Talk about not knowing when to let it go and move on. Do you have a rebuttal or something? Prosecutor said Monty. No blade of any kind was found in the catwalk, which means you have no evidence to support your theory.
But Mr. Rettens retrieved it after the fact.
Which still leaves you with no way to prove your wildly fantastic remote murder theory.
But
without proof, does it not make more sense to believe that the murder was committed there on the stage? And that's where the blood-stained sword was found, after all.
That is a very good point.
As the only person who could have committed the crime there on that stage, Trucy Wright remains the prime suspect.
Yeah.
It would appear that what you call truth is little more than a cheap parlor trick. In the end, you have done nothing to prove the accused's innocence. It is time at last to let it go and move on.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this, Magnifi Grammari? My magic is exacting punishment on your granddaughter. The Grammari name is done for.
Apollo, we need to hit them with a decisive piece of evidence here.
I know. That's just what I was thinking.
Mr. Justice, do you or don't you have anything to prove that the witness committed this remote murder you proposed?
Of course I do, Your Honor. This entire incident was carried out exactly according to the script. Right. So theoretically, there should be no evidence for us to find or use, which means our best bet is to see if something unscripted happened. There's got to be something Rettens couldn't have foreseen. And once I find it, that's how I'll expose his murderous trick. Get ready, Mr. Rettens, because I'm about to reveal the secret to your magic. There are no tricks or gimmicks here. Just some good old-fashioned logic. Oh, nice. We're doing this again. Oh, this is different looking. As long as the magic show went as scripted, the murder would happen without fail. Everything in this case was carefully planned, so that no evidence will be left behind. Still, one thing happened that definitely wasn't in the plan. What part of the magic show wasn't a part of the original script? Bonnie's mistake. Yeah. Bonnie made a mistake. Bonnie made a mistake during Trucy's escape trick. What mistake did Bonnie make during the trick? Her life choices. The Mr. Hat's positioning. Yeah. Mr. Hat was placed in the wrong spot. Because Bonnie placed Mr. Hat to the right of the coffin instead of to the left. Trucy had to reappear on the side of the coffin opposite to the one in the show's script. But the culprit didn't know that when he first arrived at the theater, which means he was bound to make a slip-up when he tampered with the crime scene. Which part of the culprit's cover-up attempt was affected by Trucy's new position? The edited show footage, blood in the coffin hole, fingerprints on the coffin. The edited show footage, right? No. The discrepancy between the two videos proved the footage had been edited. But that didn't have anything to do with Trucy's position. So in that case, which part of the culprit's cover-up attempt? The blood? Yeah, okay. I actually don't know why. The blood was on the wrong side of the coffin, too. Oh, right. Thinking Trucy had appeared on the left, the culprit must have put the blood in the left hole. But the blood was eventually discovered in the right hole during the police investigation. If the killer had originally put the blood on the left side, that means he must have tampered with the scene again afterwards to make it line up with the facts. To make the crime scene consistent with the facts, the culprit must have dropped the set piece, swapped the coffin sides. Yeah. Right, because that's right, the left and right panels of the coffin are interchangeable. The culprit must have switched the two panels to make the bloodstain fit the facts. Hang on a second. Remember, his hands were completely in the wrong place. That got pointed out last time. But the switch might have also given rise to something unnatural. Oh, I remember now. There was something unnatural about the coffin, and it's just the evidence I need. Yep, it's the fingerprint. Sorry, Mr. Rettins, but I have something very conclusive. I have some very conclusive proof of your guilt. Another bluff, is it? There's no way you have anything of the kind. My magic is real. No, there are tricks and gimmicks to it. Just like any other illusion. What? After the murder, you switched the left and right panels of the coffin, didn't you? Yeah! And because you did, you left behind something very unnatural for us to find. This proves that Roger Rettins tampered with the crime scene after the murder took place, the fingerprints. The fingerprinting results.
What about the fingerprints is unnatural?
Let's take a look at the prints the victim left inside the coffin, shall we? If the victim was facing forward in the coffin, his print should look like this. However, what we found was they were facing the opposite direction. It's quite unnatural for the prints to be facing this way. Wouldn't you agree?
It is strange, isn't it? But how did they get this way?
They got this way because the culprit thought the magic show would go on according to script. The culprit thought Mr. Hat would be on the left side of the coffin, and that Miss Wright would also pop up to the left of the coffin as per the show's script. He then assumed she had thrust the sword into the hole on the left side of the coffin. That's why he put blood in the left hole when he was trying to cover up his crime. But sometime after leaving the bloodstain, the culprit must have realized his mistake. He found out that due to Bonnie's mistake, Mr. Hat was to the right of the coffin. And that, despite the script, Miss Wright had thrust the sword into the hole on the right. In short, the hole with the blood in it was on the opposite side of the one that Trucy used. To make the blood's location fit the facts, he had to tamper with the evidence yet again. So he tried to cover his tracks by switching the coffin's left and right panels.
Oh, and that's how the fingerprints in the coffin ended up backwards. Because the culprit switched the two side panels around. The prints ended up facing the opposite direction. But instead of going to all that trouble with the panels, why didn't the culprit just wipe the blood away and redo it on the other side?
I'm afraid that wouldn't have worked, Your Honor, because of a little something called luminol testing.
Oh, right! Luminol! I almost forgot. Luminol can detect trace amounts of blood even if it's been wiped away, right?
That's right. Wiping the blood away would have only served as proof of his meddling. How about it, Mr. Rettins? I did a pretty good job figuring out your trick, didn't I?
Yeah.
Trucy Wright could have done the same just as easily. You have no proof that it was this witness who tampered with the evidence. Ah, but I do have proof. What? A person who was in the magic show would never have made the mistake of putting the blood on the wrong side. Least of all Miss Wright, who surely would have remembered she was on the other side.
Oh my! You're absolutely right.
Why, you impudent? I'm sure you've realized by now, Prosecutor Sadmati, that your claim that Miss Wright is the culprit just doesn't hold up. You and the accused are most certainly bound for hell. Really? Miss Wright and I? Because I think you're the one with a ticket there for trying to convict an innocent girl. Oh no. He knocked himself out with his own bracelet?
Prosecutor Sadmati, are you alright?
As for the true culprit, He is someone who knew how the show was supposed to go but didn't actually see it, and someone who had the chance to tamper with the crime scene after the incident. And the only person who fits the bill is you, Roger Rettens. Grammari! All of the secrets to your tricks have been revealed. And with no tricks left, I'm afraid your show has been canceled. Permanently! All of my secrets have been revealed, you say? Don't make me laugh, boy. Mine is the true, real magic. There are no secrets to reveal. Behold, ladies and gentlemen, the true power of the great Mysterious. Witness a magic fog greater than true Grammarize. Burn. Crumble. Fall to my furious flames, the great Mysterious. Will bring an end to you all. And now for the final heir to the Grammari name, right here, right now, you too shall Huh? No, this isn't right. No, I didn't do anything wrong. No, it's not my fault. I'm not the one to blame. I'm the victim here. What? Stop! No! Curse you, Grammari! And that's it for him. Curse those Grammari's! It's all because of them. Even now they wound me. Curse them all to the abyss! Do you really hate us that much? Does your hatred run that deep? Deep enough to kill an innocent man? You're damn right, you have no idea what humiliations I had to suffer. Your grandfather, Magnifi Grammari, kicked me out after I got hurt practicing my magic. He said I was too unskilled, that I would mess up on stage. He threw me out of the troupe just because he was worried about his own reputation. Since I was but a child, it was always my dream to become a great magician. But that Magnifi, he took it all from me. But that's no excuse. That's no reason to do something so evil. Magic is supposed to make people happy, not used as a means for murder. What's the big deal? I just used what I had available to me, that's all. I get it now. That attitude toward magic is why my grandfather kicked you out. You don't deserve to call yourself a magician. Don't deserve? I don't know about that. After all, you were completely taken in by my magic, were you not? If not for that lawyer over there, you would be on your way to prison as we speak. You're right. I didn't see through your tricks. You see, so in the end, Troupe Grammari was defeated by the great Mysterious. Ho, you're not fit to lecture me from on high, Trucy, right? You don't even deserve to call yourself a magician, you naive greenhorn. Take that, Grammari! You lose! If anyone needs to learn to let it go and move on, it's this guy. Yeah, this court and my prison can both burn in the fires of my creation. Bailiff, take Mr. Rettens away and bring a fire extinguisher just to be safe.
It looks like we've reached the end. I feel as though I've been watching a grand magic show.
It was close, but we just barely made it through somehow. Huh? Why does Tracy look so down?
Miss Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
I'm about to announce my verdict. Could I see that wonderful smile of yours? That smile of a true entertainer, as I do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, this court finds the defendant, Tracy Wright, not guilty. Court is adjourned.
April 28th, District Court. Defendant Lobby, number 3. Thank you for everything, Polly. Oh, Trucy, grazie a Dio. Now you can open your show tomorrow, just as planned. Yep, and it's all thanks to you two. Oh, but now that Mr. Rios is gone, I'll need to find somebody to replace him. I don't like the way she's looking at me. Tracy, I'm so sorry about everything.
Hey, what are you apologizing for?
Roger Retton's used us. We're victims too. He even made me an accomplice to murder. But Betty, we have to take some of the blame for this too, you know? Even if we didn't know he was planning to kill Mr. Mystery, we did cooperate with him. It's all my fault, isn't it? Neither of you is to blame. The only one in the wrong is the person who used magic to commit murder, Roger Rettons. Don't you think I know that? Say what you want, but don't think for a second that I don't still hate you. I guess she really does hate me. But Betty, why? You used to be a huge fan of Trucy's. Hey, shut up! I've always hated her. Really? But if we hadn't seen Trucy's magic show, we never would have tried to become professional magicians ourselves, right? Speak for yourself. But Betty, you still have her autograph from that day. Grr, just shut up! Was she acting this way this whole time because she secretly loves Trucy? Wow, Trucy, I never knew that being the best could be so tough. Come on, Bonnie, we're leaving. We have to get ready for tomorrow's show. You're really excited about performing with Trucy again, aren't you? That's not true, so zip it, dummy. Holly, do you think I really am a naive greenhorn? Huh? No way. She's not. Yeah, based off of what he said. Yeah. Because he said that he completely deceived her, and it was only Apollo who rescued her at the end. Yeah. She didn't see through his tricks, but... yeah, he's saying that he defeated her, so he got his revenge, or whatever. Yeah, and called her a naive greenhorn. Yep. Trucy, don't tell me you're taking what Retton said to heart. Well, maybe a little. I didn't see through his tricks, and I let myself be taken in by his magic. I can't trust myself anymore. Maybe he was right to call me a greenhorn. Shouldn't take stock in his words. He doesn't even know the first thing about you. Huh? You're a wonderful Grammar magician. You should be proud of yourself. Thank you, Apollo. But what makes you say that? I know you're a wonderful Grammar magician because of this. The Grammar notebook? My grandfather's notebook? The Grammar Creed. A true entertainer always keeps a smile on their face. When you performed your magic trick in court today, you showed the world your dedication to the troop's creed. Even though all the jeering, you kept a smile on your face and won the crowd over. You're everything Magnifi could have hoped for in an heir. You're a great magician, Trucy. Great magician? Me? You really are. That's why you don't have to worry about what Retton said. Oh, Polly, thank you. Still, I couldn't have done it without you. I would have lost my nerve if I'd been alone up there. but I was able to keep on smiling because of you.
Me?
I remembered what you said to me in the detention center. After all, you're sure you swapped the swords, right? Yes, I remember doing it. Then I just know it wasn't your fault, Trucy. But how can you say that? We don't have any proof it wasn't me. I mean, I know you're a great lawyer, Polly, but I believe in you, Trucy, and I believe in your skill as a professional magician. So I'm gonna prove your innocence. Don't worry, you're gonna be fine. Your words were what kept me going. Apollo, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I can be everything I was meant to be. Trucy's real smile is the best. I'm so glad I could help make that happen. Emma? I'm really sorry, Trucy, for everything. But why? Well, I wasn't able to convince Prosecutor Satmati what a good person you are. And I had to testify against you, too. You have nothing to apologize for. You were just doing your job. You're too kind. Oh, I don't know about... Huh? Is something wrong, Emma? Oh! Oh, there he is. Prosecutor Sadmati? What are you doing here? Detective Sky? Yes? I require your forensic expertise in order to close this case. Come, let us go. Wait, Prosecutor Sadmati! The trial is over, Mr. Justice. You and I are strangers once more, with no further need to interact. Strangers? Have you really forgotten all about me? What? You've really changed, Nayuda. Telling me to let it go and stuff. What happened to you? Oh, lawyer of impure soul, I have nothing to say to the likes of you. Are you serious, Nayuda? Now, if you will excuse me... There he goes. What was that all about, Apollo? How do you know Prosecutor Sadmati? Let's just say we're old acquaintances. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. That got mentioned at the end of the last stream. Acquaintances? It seemed like something more than that. Yeah, well, you don't like to talk about your past, do you? Because you always change the subject. I guess I'll have to talk about it someday. But for now, come on, let's forget about the past and celebrate Trucy's future. Sure, if you say so. Hey, it's Mr. Wright. Put him on speakerphone, Apollo. What's up, Mr. Wright? Apollo, how's Trucy? What happened at the trial? Did you get a not guilty verdict? Mr. Wright, slow down. Everything's fine. Hi, Daddy. I'm okay now. She was found not guilty in a very dramatic turnabout. Plus, we saved the office. It was a great victory for Apollo. Oh, that's a load off my mind. I can't thank you enough, Apollo. Now I know I can trust you to hold down the fort anytime. Me? Really? Yes, you. You're a real full-fledged lawyer now in my eyes. A full-fledged lawyer? Still can't wrap my head around it. Thank goodness you were there to take care of everything. And thank you, Apollo. No need to go that far, boss. Especially not in front of everyone. Oh, and by the way, I won't be able to make it to tomorrow's show. So I was hoping you could go. You'll do that for me, won't you? Of course! I wouldn't miss it for the world. Full-fledged. So Daddy asked you to come to tomorrow's show, huh? As my assistant, right? No. He just asked me to go cheer you on. Okay, then I'll be sure to save you the best seat in the house, Polly. The best seat in the house? I really appreciate the thought, but... Good, then it's settled. Huh? The best seat's gonna be right next to her, isn't it? He's gonna be the assistant. April 29th, Penrose Theater. Stage. Objection! I should have known. This is what she meant! Magical girl Trucy Wright will now perform her greatest illusion yet. There are no tricks or gimmicks here, ladies and gentlemen. This is real magic.
Wait a minute, you're kidding me, right? There is a trick or gimmick, right? I'm too young to die.
Now then, Mr. Hat, you know what to do with that sword.
No, wait, stop! No!
And that is how Trucy and Grammar Land ended on a rousing high note, with a big round of applause and Polly's ear-splitting screams.
What kind of an ending is that?
That's the ending, though. Nice. End. Perfect. All right, well, we went super late tonight, but I wanted to finish this. Next, we have the Rite of Turnabout. So I'm guessing we're going back to Crine for this one, hopefully. But yeah, that was a fun one. I enjoyed it. Anyway, we will see you next time. Bye.